I'm trying.
Alright.
Okay.
Hello, everyone! Did it work? Now it worked! Hello, everyone!
Did it work? Are we doing the thing? Hello!
Yeah, welcome to What the YA.
What the ya?
What the ya? My name is Brittany.
I am Jeanette.
Julian.
Woo! We did it. Okay.
Best introduction ever.
Alright, and this week, or month, we read the last 4 books of the series of Unfortunate Events.
Yes.
The finale.
The finale.
Done.
Finally.
So.
It's very hard to get through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brittany never finished it at all.
Yeah.
You've never read it at all.
Yeah.
So I've just been sitting on this existence since my childhood.
So, feelings, thoughts that are vague and spoiler-free?
Well, when we were just doing sound tests, I brought up, I forgot how dark the last 4 are. And, that's, I think, a good description of it, because, everything happens, right after the other with the 4 books. Whereas, there's always, it's there's always, for the last couple of books, there's always, a stop, and then a go,
right,
and it keeps going.
More like this instead of...
Yeah, it's, literally, just, they bleed all into each other, and then it just doesn't stop until it finally ends.
I like that all the characters come back.
Yeah, so you get to see all of them.
Cool.
Get to see them all, and you're just oh, look, it's that guy!
I remember you from when you did this.
From when you did this thing. Yeah. Spoilers.
So,
but yeah, I like the last 4. I think it's a great ending to, all of it. Because it's, everything is so, up and down, all over the place. And then it's just, just, an explosion.
It's can't breathe, and then at the end it's
okay.
Question mark?
Do I feel good about it?
At least it's over.
Yeah, it's not, though.
Fine.
It's not, though. Fun fact, it's not.
So, darkness, yes. So we're gonna
Other-
try to treat these last 4 books as kind of one big amalgamation of things. So one long book.
Which I think makes sense since they all.
It is very sequential, and it is kind of like this. If it was like a play, it would be like the denouement, as he says. So,
Oh,
haha. Okay.
see what you did there.
So yeah. So I don't know how we're going to, but we are gonna do like some sort of plot summary that's not too spoilery for the last 4 books of Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yeah.
Go.
Which is, it's gonna be real difficult because the last 4 is kind of all spoilers.
Essentially.
Well, do we
really
want to
like-
just do a?
So in the Slippery Slope, they start by being separated. It's the first time the kids are separated, and so their main focus is getting Sunny back. So that's basically that. They meet. Well, this is a spoiler, so we can't do that. Just,
They end
Shut
up
up.
meeting a very important character that we thought was dead.
which is
And
a lot of
and
people.
all
Yeah, I
the-
was like, that can actually be a lot of people, so that's good. That's great.
Could be.
Spoiler-free.
A lot of
Kinda,
people.
sorta.
They find a whole bunch. They find some stuff. They get Sunny back. That's the greatest thing.
What?
Okay, maybe we should just do spoilers.
Yeah, I was like, really do a
Yeah,
spoiler.
this is like the end.
It's just like super quick.
Yeah, they have to get Sunny back. Grim Grotto, because like if you can't go into the Grim Grotto without mentioning that,
Right.
they got
Sunny's
Sunny
there
back.
again.
so like
So Silver Soap. The FD headquarters gets burned down.
yeah, they get to
They
It's the
They
this
meet
the
Quigley.
Quigley.
I always forget his
Quigley
first name is
Quagmire.
Yeah. Sorry. I just want to call him Quagmire.
I just like it's like my favorite thing. It's like there's Duncan,
Quigley's found.
Isidore, Quigley.
Quigley.
It's such an odd.
Like they like tried really hard with Quigley Quagmire, and then they realized they had 2 other kids. Like they planned Quigley, and they're like, "Shit! I didn't realize we were gonna have triplets." Duncan, Isidore, nailed it.
Did it.
But they meet Quigley. They also run into Carmelita Spats again
Again.
with the Snow Scouts,
God,
which is
yes.
basically like the Girl Scouts, but also with boys.
Because why not?
In this book, she's like, I'm gonna be the false spring queen. That's her
Yeah.
identity in this book.
Whatever that is.
Whatever the fuck that is. But they managed to find they needed to get to like where the Mortmain Mountains, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Because it's the last known location of the last known VFT headquarters.
Yeah. And they're like,
so
it's
it's-
gonna be safe. One of our parents might be alive. Let's
Yeah.
go.
We need to go.
And Olaf is there because he basically wants to destroy it.
He's always there. Olaf is always where they want to be.
Yeah. And they manage to get to the headquarters, and they find some shit, and they find a thing about, like, Olaf. Olaf name meaning.
Oh,
Relic. Oh, interesting.
interesting.
The name Olaf
That
is
might come into play at the last book. Okay. Anyway, so
me.
all the villains are at the
They're at the Mortmain Mountains because
they're at the
they're
top
at the
of the highest peak because they can see
Yeah.
everything, right?
yeah.
And they're
And-
there to discuss terrible
They're
things.
they're up there, and then the Klaus, Violet, Quigley, and
are down
the they're like down here.
and then
like-
they climb.
And they need to, and then Sunny, who is up there, she's forced to sleep outside.
I know she calls herself Cinderella at one point. I'm like, Cinderella didn't even have it this bad.
And she's like forced to cook for
She
them.
just does all their chores. That's not
Yeah,
fair.
she does
It's
all
like
their
the first
chores.
book all over again.
Yeah, and then
Cute.
she sees what's her tits? Esme. She's like smoking like a what do they refer to it as?
Green
like a verdant.
cigarettes?
It's green cigarettes, but it's like a VFD acronym. It's
Yeah.
like verdant
Oh, God. I don't know.
Flammable
device, something like that.
Yeah.
But basically, if you light it, it just causes like a huge smoke signal to happen. So she's like, "Oh, I need to make this thing for your dinner that you'll probably like. You've hated everything else I've made, but I need this thing to be able to use it as a fire." So she steals takes the green cigarette and she lights it. And so Violet, Klaus, and Quigley see the signal at the top of the mountain, and they're like, "Oh shit, our sister's up there! Go!" And Violet invents like some like
Climbing forks.
climbing forks, and she and Quigley scale the mountain. They leave class behind
Forks.
with forks. And they have like a pause. This is like one of my favorite moments in the entire. It's like they have like a break. Quigley and Violet just sit, and they have like a little moment, and then Lemony is just like, but Violet doesn't get much privacy, so I'm gonna allow her this moment. And it's just like,
Even though we all know what happened.
we all know that. We all fucking know. And there's that line where it's just like, it's a beautiful scene. Violet's like, yeah, it is. And he was not looking at the scene, but was looking at her. And it's like,
Oh, so cute.
oh, they're 15. And so they scale the rest of the way, and they manage to get Sunny. But Sunny's like, no, I can spy. And then it's like, Violet has like the realization that Sunny isn't a baby anymore, which is like the realization to you as well. It's like, all right, she's like not a baby anymore.
She's talking in sentences.
Yeah. And like I think the like you have it posted on the podcast right now, but that image from the end like really like shows how much older Sunny is. Because in Bad Beginning she looks
she's literally
like,
being held.
Right.
Yeah.
And she has like a onesie on.
She's standing on her own. Well, she's wearing a concierge outfit for reasons. But she's standing on her own and independently from her siblings. So she's like, it's very much the realization that she's not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
So I like that
young
moment.
girl.
Like you have the same realization with Violet at the same time. You're like, oh shit.
Oh, she can cook. She's not baby anymore.
She's a great administrative assistant. So they go back down to Klaus, and I like, it always surprised me that Klaus is like, why isn't Sunny with you right now? Like, they're just like, so we got a plan, kind of.
And Sunny is by herself again.
We left the baby, we had her, but we left her. It was her idea.
And Klaus is like, you left the baby? And Violet's like, she's not a baby anymore, Klaus.
She's like,
wait till you see.
She's at least 2. She can handle it on her
She could
own.
be a spy for a bunch of villains.
Yeah, it's fine. What happens after that? A lot of shit happens.
Well, then Sunny overhears that. Is this where they figure out that it's Thursday is the day, or was that in a note?
I think that was in a note.
Yeah, it was a note.
So she overhears the location.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. She overhears the location.
Which is
then,
Hotel Denouement.
Denouement. Which is organized by the Dewey Decimal System.
And denouement means basically the climax of the story, where all the elements come together and mysteries are solved. Are they, though?
But are they?
But is that what happens?
Is that what happens?
Anyway.
Because there's like a lot of books after the series that explain more. Explain a lot of questions.
Hey, he needed to keep making money there.
I mean, yeah, he managed to make a lot of good money out of a series of unfortunate events. But yeah, she overhears some stuff, and then go away. Get the fuck out of here.
Go back up.
Sorry, I was getting
Klaus figured something out.
Yeah, he figured out something, and I don't remember what. And I wish I could, but I can't. So I'm gonna
I
just
could search it, but Kindle
Right.
is gonna take forever.
Slippery. The slippery.
Oh, God.
The slippery stool.
Oh.
Ew. I think I'll this one. Snigget Wiki. There we go. Whoa.
Huge.
Oh, that's when we meet the woman with hair but no beard, and the man with a beard but no hair.
Evil people.
They're just evil with no
Yeah.
names.
Yo,
And just-
we burned down that BFD headquarters.
Yeah, we burned it down for you.
So you're welcome.
Killing
So
it.
now we're a team, right? Because I'm in charge, and I make everyone feel cold when I enter a room. So I'm obviously evil.
Because I make even Olaf uncomfortable.
Klaus hatches a plan to lure Esme down.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, they were gonna
use
put her in a
Esme
pit.
Yeah,
but then they're like, oh, I feel bad.
yeah, guys.
about it.
This is what villains do.
And
So we're gonna reveal ourselves.
Yeah, we're
the whole
gonna.
time.
Ooh. But yeah, so they're like, we can use the green cigarettes because they're in Esme. So they're like, yeah, we'll kidnap her and then use her as a ransom for Sunnyback. And it's funny to me because if that actually ended up working, I'm pretty sure Olaf would have just been fine without her.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Esme's gone? Oh no.
Oh,
well, guess we better go.
Guess we should go or something. She runs into 3 masked strangers, which is just whatever. As they reach the top, the Snow Scouts reach the same peak of the same slope. So now the Snow Scouts, the Baudelaires, the theater troupe, all the villains, they're all together.
And that's when we figure out why they're there.
Yeah.
Because they're there to capture all of the scouts.
Yeah, so he captures all of them in a big net. They Klaus, Violet, and Quigley take off their masks because they're like, you gotta run, you gotta flee, and they're like, no, we're in a net, and they're like, no, fucking run, and they're like, no. And then I forgot about this. He orders the 2 white-faced women to throw Sunny off the cliff, and they're like,
and thank God,
we're gonna quit.
Yeah,
we're
not going.
This is too far for us.
Yeah, we've gone a little far. You're asking us to throw an actual infant.
We're just gonna go now. Bye.
Hey, sorry. Whatever. The Baudelaires and Quigley are too late as the freaks, the scouts, except for Carmelita and the hook-headed man, are taken up into the net and carried off by eagles.
Yes, and they escape on a toboggan down the now melting slippery slope.
Yeah, and then a crack happens, and now all of a sudden a waterfall starts leaking up there.
They're on a toboggan on a waterfall, which is very dangerous.
Very dangerous. And then Quigley gets separated from them, and he's alone in the thing, and he's like, meet me at this place. He's waving his composition notebook because that's his thing, because all of them have a thing. He's waving it. He's like, meet me at the blah 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 blah, and you don't hear what the blah 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 thing is, and then he's
Violet's like, no, my beloved boyfriend.
My boyfriend, but she's reaching for her brother, and she's like, who do I save? And he's like, obviously your brother, he'll be fine, you're good.
We'll figure it out. We'll totally see him again.
Well,
there's 3 more books, come on.
There's the thing of there's her interaction with Quigley makes you realize that it's most likely that she had a potential budding love interest with Duncan because they look exactly the same. Well, whatever.
Yeah, even at the end.
And also, who knows what the fuck Duncan is, okay?
Right,
he flew off with Hector.
Yeah. Hector and Duncan are on an island somewhere.
Somewhere. And then, it goes straight into the Grim Grotto.
Yeah, these last 4 books all take place one day right after the other.
Yeah, basically. Barely even. Just, literally in the middle of it. It's okay, here we are.
This is all 1 week.
Yeah, we have found...
the worst week ever.
Just awful. And it starts with them still, rushing down the slope, freaking out, and then they're picked up by a submarine. Called the Queequeg. The Queequeg. So many Q's. Which is captained by Captain Wintershins. A VFD member and an old friend of the Baudelaire parents.
And his philosophy is, he who hesitates is lost. And Fiona's always like, or she?
Or she. And then Fiona is his stepdaughter. And then the ship's cook is Phil, who was with them in Lucky.
Oh my God.
He's the super optimistic guy.
Mr. Person.
While I was reading the lumberjack thing, the lumber mill one, I was lumberjack. I was like, he's too nice. I feel like he might be a bad guy.
He's not actually.
I know,
which is super surprising.
What?
What? He's so nice. And that's when they learn about the sugar bowl, because that's the mention. They're like, we're looking for the sugar bowl because it was thrown downstream, and then
that's how they kind of got away from Count Olaf, because Sunny had heard something about a sugar bowl, and then Violet's like, we know where it is. Totally.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know where the sugar bowl is. It's
I'm not gonna tell you though until you give me my sister, and then they escaped on the toboggan anyway.
Yeah, and then they fled.
So Count Olaf and his people think that the Baudelaires know where the sugar bowl is.
Yeah. They have less than a week before the meeting at the hotel.
Monday,
yeah.
The whole meeting is on Thursday.
On Thursday. And that is a big deal. Something big is happening during this meeting. Which you learn about later.
Yes.
and it like could certain people that could destroy the VFD forever, whatever. Fiona like is an expert mycologist, so she knows about like fucking
mushrooms and fungus.
mushrooms. She falls for Klaus because obviously
they both have glasses.
They're very similar looking, therefore they have to.
Similar looking.
It's like a cartoon. Like that's how you know people are married.
Two nerds
like,
end up together, right? That's
obviously.
life.
Obviously.
Sure.
Like look at Milhouse from The Simpsons. He looks exactly like his parents, who look exactly alike. It's just like they were just destined to be together. They tried to send a telegram, but their telegram device doesn't work.
Oh yeah. So Violet's like, I can fix that, and then they have a whole bunch of like title charts, and Klaus is like, well, I can research and figure out where the sugar bowl went based off of where it was threw out the window and all that stuff into the river.
Right.
And then Sonny's like, I can make everyone food.
Yeah.
We all
yeah.
have a job. It's like we have a purpose in life.
We have a
I'm so
purpose.
excited.
Yeah, and there's like they like like when she's fixing it, she realizes that someone has been like disrupting VFD communications via the telegraph, which is why the telegram that they sent to Mr. Poe in the hospital, like they sent him a message like, we're fine, we didn't do it, I swear to God, like never got to him, and it's because
Someone's messing with some stuff.
And you learn about that more in the unauthorized biography. So, fun fact.
Everyone should go read it.
It's great. He's examined the title charts, the sugar bowl, given the water cycle. He suspects it to be in the
grotto.
The
GG.
The Gorgonian Grotto.
Medusa.
Located near Anwhistle Aquatics, which was founded by Aunt Josephine's brother-in-law, Gregor Anwhistle.
Did it.
Woo.
Everything's connected.
Oh my god! They're interrupted by an approaching submarine vessel on the sonar. It's in the ship in shape of a giant octopus.
Wonder who that could be.
I wonder who it is. What is it?
Yeah, I was like,
well, it was an eye, and it had legs.
This is generally what...
This is what the submarine looked like, okay?
No, what an octopus looks like.
Yeah, fun fact. Make sure to clip this for the,
Here we go.
like the Instagram.
Everyone together.
Come on, Julie,
We
get
just
in.
did it.
Get in this. No, do it again. Yes. Anyway,
This is
fun.
the start of the
Mark
cult.
yourself.
yeah. Hopefully, all the people watching do it too. It's great. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
They like try to avoid. I'm trying to remember everything. They try to avoid Olaf
This
and
one
Violet.
was really
Never
simple.
avoid him. Yeah, they just turn off the Queequeg. They're just like, okay, we'll just turn it off real quick.
Everyone be quiet.
No one will know. And then they see another thing on their sonar, which is super important, which is just a question mark. And it's floating towards it, and it freaks out Olaf's ship. And he, like,
He leaves.
goes away.
Swims.
He swims away. It's
He
not.
gets out and swims away himself.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that! But there's, like, a question mark, which is, we'll talk about that later. Because I have thoughts.
But that's a thing that happens that scares them away. So
Yeah,
then they get
scares
to
them-
GG.
Yeah, they get to the GG.
You said
And they're
Fiji.
like, we're going to
They
send
get
all
to
the
Fiji.
children
They have a
into
great
the
time.
abyss.
Big time.
What?
We're sending
did
all
you
the
say?
children into the abyss.
Well, yeah.
Oh my
Well, like, it was, like, supposed to be everybody. Like, they're all in diamond suits, except Sunny, who's just in a diamond helmet because she's too small to be in a suit. They all go out, but then they get to the grotto, and there's, like, a small hole to get in, but the bigger people, so the adults can't fit, so they just send the orphans in, and Fiona in. And then they come up to, like, a pocket where there's, like, no water.
Yeah, and there's like a little.
And it looks like, and they're like, it looks like somebody was like camping here, but then they see like the medusoid mycelium is like growing there, which is a super deadly fungus. Super,
popping up out of the ground.
yeah,
Like
there's,
daisies.
like daisies, like popping up out like daisies.
Like Huns or something.
And according to Fiona, they wax and wane periodically, but when waxing, as the poet says in her text, a single spore has such grim power that you may die within the hour. So that's fun.
And
Ouch.
But like because the grotto is like underwater but not underwater, it's like keeping all the
Yeah, it's like in a little air bubble.
Yeah, like safe. They're not like coming out.
All the poison
safe.
is contained.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Until children enter it.
And then
and
Fiona
infect fucking everyone. Thanks, Sunny. No.
We're getting there. It wasn't her fault.
Or was it?
Oh.
Or was it? Did she just put it in there?
She's like, ooh, I can use this for the food.
Perfect. But
She's
so like
only 2.
She's only 2. She doesn't know. So they stay in like a corner of the cave while it's like waxing so that it doesn't get close to them. Because Fiona's like, maybe there's gotta be an antidote. I'm pretty sure there's an antidote. I can research it further, but we gotta wait until like the mushrooms are like things.
Yeah, and
so
during that they pick up a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah.
Like clippings and items that might be useful.
Stuff. Wintersheen sends the children off to get some sleep, but says like refuses to tell them about the sugar bowl's purpose in the plot.
Oh. Yep, that happened.
Yep, that's the thing that happened. I feel like I skipped something. Well,
then they swim back.
Yeah, they swim back.
But when they get back to the submarine,
should we mention Fiona and Fernald?
Later.
Because that's important. Later.
He's not here.
Well, we know Fernald is Fiona's brother, but he went missing.
That's all we know. Oh, no.
Oh no.
Then we find out later. No.
Oh, no. And then
when they get back to the submarine, the captain and Phil are gone.
Yeah, and there's 3 ominous balloons sitting on their chairs.
VFD.
There's like floating VFDs. I imagine they're like it's like helium, but it's like day-old helium, so they're just floating at mid-level, just like really awkwardly and terrifying.
They keep going up and down. It's like VFD.
Ooh, which the explanation for it is still stupid. So like whatever, we'll get there. So yeah, they swim back. Oh, they find a newspaper clipping that Violet doesn't tell them about.
And Violet has a very bad feeling about Fiona.
Yeah. That was like a thing that we should probably mention. They're gone in their place, blah 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 blah. But this little horror compared to this. But this is a little horror compared to what happens next, as the children discover a spore of the mushrooms have infiltrated Sunny's helmet.
Oh.
And she's still currently trapped inside.
And she's coughing and dying, and only 2 years old.
So scary.
And it's really sad. It's like one of those moments where you're like, holy shit, this is
right. And it's
real.
like so close to the end that I'm like, what if she does die?
Yeah, like
I'm like, is this how the book's gonna like slowly end? Like, how you gonna have 2 whole books without her?
All die. They all this one Sunny dies, and the next one Klaus dies, and then Violet dies.
I didn't know. This is my first time.
And they're like, they want to get her out, but Fiona's like, no, because if we get her out, then we'll get infected.
Yeah,
so
we gotta be in quarantine. And they're like, what's a quarantine? And more defining of words.
Yeah, because
let's define.
It's this book. And then they're like trying to come up with some shit and figure some shit out, and then they're captured by Olaf in the jaw of his octopus submarine. Just keep doing it every time we mention it.
Every time. Count Olaf.
And apparently he is perfecting his villainous laugh.
Oh, yeah, that was annoying. Every time they were talking, I just skipped him. I was like, I don't care what you're saying.
I don't care. So they're captured, and he shows little concern for Sunny's condition, because obviously, why would he care? And then he tells them...
There's still 2 other orphans to get
It's fine.
From.
And then
I just need one of you to leave.
Tells them to take them to the brig. And then they discover that the tentacles are being powered by the children that he captured. So all the Snow Scouts, the students from Proof Rock Preparatory, and like other children they've never seen before. And Esme is like commanding them in an octopus costume.
With a noodle.
Whipping them with noodles. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
This scene. It's gonna be so.
And then Carmelita's there being like a ballerina veterinarian, whatever.
Yeah.
This whole sequence, I was like, what did we just walk into?
It's like you walk into like a fever dream, and then you just like step out for a minute, and you're just like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Like, leading up to this point, I was with you. And now, what is
you
happening?
lost me at octopus costume. I was like, okay, yeah, children, they can be rowing the tentacles, that's fine, but why is she in an octopus costume? And then you like remember it's Esme, so it's like kind of makes sense, but also still.
Because noodles are in.
Noodles are in, guys.
So we're octopus.
And I like how they kind of adopted Carmelita. They're like, yes, this is our daughter.
Esme did.
Esme did,
Count Olaf just kind of has a kid around now.
Oh, also the octopus ship is called the Carmelita. The Carmelita. The children are taken to the brig, and they're interrogated by the Hook Hand Man, but then we find out the Hook Hand Man is actually Fernand, Fiona's brother.
Oh
it's like,
my god.
What? And that's what, like, Violet read in the, like, article that upset her that she didn't tell.
And she was like, you were a bad person. I read
like,
it
I guess
in
the
the
article
newspaper,
was
which never lies.
Burned down a thing. Oh, he burned down and Whistle Aquatics. That's what he burned down. That's what it was. And basically killed Gregor and a whole bunch of other people. Or Fernald. Fernald is such a weird name.
I didn't like it.
And then Klaus makes the distinction that the VFD have schism, where one half put out fires, and then the schism happened, and now another half starts fires. So, like, there's two VFDs, both of which...
called VFD.
They're both called VFD, but one is good and puts out fires, and the other is bad and starts the fires.
And this is kind of where they start talking about it in terms of villains and noble people.
Mm-hmm. Villains and volunteers.
Yes.
Because they're called the Volunteer Fire Department. So if you're a volunteer, you're good. Yeah. Right? That's great, right? Like, great. And then you realize that, you learn in the unauthorized biography, like, how they're, like, inducted into the VFD, and they're like, but you have to volunteer. Doesn't really sound like volunteering. Fiona, like, tries to convince Fernald to, like, join them and help them, and Fernald's like, nah, man, Olaf ain't all bad. He's pretty great sometimes, except for the part where, like, he, like, murders people, and, like...
I don't really like that, but...
I mean,
cool dude.
He's aight. He's cool. He doesn't judge me for having hook hands. It's like, we won't judge you for having hook hands. We judge you because you...
Because of your actions and your choices.
But
like,
Fernald finally agrees to help, and asks for them to take him with them. So it's like, oh shit.
Alright, we're all gonna escape.
But, like, Violet is, like, firmly against it. She's like, no, we can't fucking trust this guy at all. Like, this could easily be a plot. It sucks for hands. It's dangerous. But, like, I think her, like, skepticism is very warranted, because she's like, every time, like, we've, like, kind of wanted to trust them, it's been, like, a plot from, like, Olaf to get something. So, like, it's like...
Minus Hector.
Yeah, I was totally on her side. I was like, no, this is bad.
Yeah. And Fiona's just like, would you ever abandon a sibling? It's like, God damn it, Fiona, you're right. I would never do such a thing. So then they start working on an escape, aided unwittingly by Carmelita, who is doing a song and dance routine that distracts Esme and the rowing children.
C is for courteous, A is for adorable, R is for something, M is for gorgeous, which doesn't start with M.
Oh, it's like she's a fucking idiot or something. And Fernald is like, Esme, I need these, like, noodles that you've been whipping the children with. And she's like, why? It's like, because Fiona, who's my stepsister, she wants to join us, and, like, we gotta use them to torture the Baudelaires. And she's like, I like your sister, but I'm gonna name her Triangle Eyes because her glasses look like triangles.
Yeah, alright, that's your
But here
name.
are these noodles for you to whip them with.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Let's do it.
But then they get back to the Queequeg, and, like, Sunny is, like, fucking barely hanging on. She's just...
Like, there's, like, 10 minutes left.
Yeah, she is basically dead. Klaus and Violet read Fiona's text and Kit's letter, because they get a letter from Kit. Like, the letter is from Kit about the meeting. Kit Snicket, who is Jacques Snicket's sister, and they have a mysterious third Snicket sibling who Captain Wintershins would not let them talk about.
Who that could be?
It might be Lemony Snicket.
What?
I'm just fucking...
What? It's, like, slowly going off. Just to be
Oh, it's perfect. And they're, like, reading it and realize the antidote being made on Lousy Lane, because there's an antidote that was being made for medusoid, whatever it's called.
Mushrooms of poison.
The mushrooms of poison, and it's horseradish, which is horrendous, because horseradish is awful.
That it is.
And they have none, and they're like freaking out, and then they discover a birthday cake for Violet, which was what Phil and Sunny were making together, because Violet just turned 15, and the balloons were supposed to be for Violet's 15th date, which is just the stupidest thing ever.
I mean, VFD.
I mean, of
They
all
had
of
to slip it in somewhere.
yeah,
Seriously, like these last ones, everything VFD.
it was like that moment. It was just like, you didn't even try, Daniel. Like, you didn't even try to, like, all of them have been pretty good. Like how they've been I mean,
he's like 11 books strong here.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. This one was when it started to kind of.
Maybe they were just doing it as a dumb joke. Maybe it was Sunny's idea.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it. It's like, yes, let's listen to
like, remember VFD, that mystery, haha, and Violet? It's like, ah.
No, it had to be Phil, because she's 2. She can't read and or write. So, like, it's just.
Do we know that?
I don't know.
Well, Phil doesn't seem like highly educated.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wrote VFD for Violet's 15th date. Do you get it?
Haha.
Do you get it?
Ha.
Ooh. Anyway, Violet, like, starts freaking out because, like, you know, she's sad because, like, you know, her sister might die, and then also, like, her birthday happened and she didn't realize it. And then Sunny is just, like, saves her own life because she just blurts out the culinary equivalent of horseradish, wasabi, which she used to make dinner for them when they were in the cave, which is callback to the wasabi.
But, like,
that's what they found.
Yeah, they found, like, wasabi.
There's 3 spoonfuls left.
And they fucking just, like, catapulted that shit into her mouth.
Which sounds horrible,
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's going to save you from poisonous mushrooms, totally down.
If John, what is he saying to us?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, he's eaten. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, fucking, oh, my God. That was pretty funny.
Wasabi's horrible.
Wasabi is bad, but I'm pretty sure if you're, like, dying.
I need it.
Oh, yeah, like,
if that was, like, the cure to me from dying.
Because I like to think that it's, like, you can't breathe because of the fungi, and the wasabi just clears up your sinuses.
Yeah,
that's
how that would work.
That's really what happens.
The mushrooms are like, oh, no.
Oh no!
Back into the bloodstream.
Quick! That's how they talk. Sunny recovered. While Sunny is recovering, Klaus and Violet are stunned when the telegram machine starts back up again, just randomly. The voluntary factual dispatch they receive is from Quigley, so we know he's safe, which is kind of exciting, which touches Violet as she remembers their romantic involvement, which is literally that sentence, which is so fucking good.
It was like 30 seconds on the side of a cliff where they were, maybe they kissed, I don't know, but it's like.
I feel like she has, like, I feel like for them, all of their romantic moments are much more important because they've had such shitty, like, just.
But at the same time,
awful. But they're still.
Quigley 12 hours.
This is true. You bring up a valid point. But she's also 15, and this feels very much how a 15-year-old would react.
15-year-olds think everything's love.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't know if they full on, like, kiss or whatever, or if it was just, like, holding hands.
You don't know. Lemony provided her that privacy.
Because I think it was more like an emotional bond rather than a physical anything.
Yeah.
Either way.
It's
special to her.
The letter is...
Don't ruin it.
Oh, yeah. The letter is also sent to the mysterious...
Not ruining it. I think it's great. It's really special. We shouldn't invade her privacy.
It's real...
This poor young girl.
This poor girl. Just taking on a lot. The letter is also sent to the mysterious JS, which could be fucking a lot of people. So many people.
But they assume it's Jacques. But then they're like, wait a second.
Jacques is dead.
Or is he? I'm just kidding. He's totally dead.
Quigley needs the Baudelaires at a certain coded location by Tuesday, the very next day, and just 2 days before the meeting at the hotel. The verse fluctuations declarations code is similar to the one Klaus discovered in the grotto, because Klaus discovered that the VFT uses a lot of coding for everything, and he figured out the code, like, that they use coding, but he hasn't figured out how to crack the code yet. But he does, like, discover and references poems by T.S. Eliot and Lewis Carroll. Although they haven't read the poems, Klaus and Violet discovered the secret poetry books the Wintershins has hidden away. Sneaky poetry books. Which he used to read with Fernald. Great.
It's important.
They also find a photo of the family when Fiona's mother was alive, and Fernald had hands.
Back in the day.
Back in those days. I wonder what happened to his hands.
He chopped them off.
He did it himself as penance for his evil deeds.
He stole something in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it go, man. I don't need.
What if like he actually didn't chop off his hands and he just likes hooks?
Like, and he's just holding hooks.
He's just
that would be the best thing. Like in like.
Like someone accidentally pulls one off and he's like,
Oh,
he's like got those like fake ones that have like the cup that goes around your hands.
That's all it is.
That'd be great.
Oh, it'd be so good. They like decide that they need to decode the message and they need to figure out where Quigley needs them to go.
Yeah, so
because
they
obviously
find the poems in the poetry books and then they're like decoding things.
Oh yeah, and they don't have Fiona with them, and they're like, we have to do this more than we need to save Fiona. Like, she'll be fine. She's good. She's got her brother.
But Klaus is like, we should save Fiona, and Violet's like, no.
Nah, man. Nah, mean. And they like manage to solve the riddle, and they learn that the Carol poem asked the Baudelaires to meet Quigley at Briny Beach, where all of their troubles started.
Oh my god.
And like Violet is trying to decode the other one, when Olaf.
She figures it out, but she can't say it because they get interrupted.
Yeah, they interrupted. He announces triumphantly they are just minutes from the Hotel Denouement, and even worse, Fiona has joined their team, which
no guess.
Is
not surprised.
Wow. The girl herself enters with Fernald in the uniform of the Carmelita and tells the Baudelaires that it is true.
And they're wearing like the face of a poet that like sucks or something.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? It's like...
I can't remember who it is, but I don't think I've ever read anything by him. So I'm like, okay, I guess I just won't.
Yeah, the Queequeg has like a certain one that they respect. I can't remember.
Melville.
Yeah, Herman Melville is the Queequeg. What is? I'll find it. You just sit tight.
Oh.
I'll find it. I got you.
Oh, and I like throughout this entire book, he keeps returning to the idea of the water cycle as like a framing device. And I'm like, this is the most shoved in thing. I don't like it.
Don't like it. Yeah, I can't find it, so I'm just gonna ignore it and we're just gonna move on with our lives.
Pretend I wasn't looking for anything.
Whatever. But yeah, it's some fucking.
But yeah, they show up and then Count Olaf, they like have a argument or whatever. They're like, no, you're coming with us. And Count Olaf and Esme and Carmelita leave with Fernald, and they're like, Fiona, you be the one. You're the one that's like the newest member to like bring them in. And Fiona's like, no, I'm gonna let you escape because I am like the chef salad.
I'm like a chef salad.
That's what she says. Because Fernald is like, you know, like, none of us are truly, like, fully good or fully evil. We're like a chef salad, where it's like, some bits are good, some bits are evil, some bits are just, like, tomatoes in between. And it's like, we're all just chef salad. And she's like, I'm going to be a chef salad. I'm going to go over here with the bad guys, but I'm going to let you guys go. So that's my good deed for, like, the day.
Those are the tomatoes good for you in the chef salad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Just like, all right, Fiona salad, goodbye.
Salad.
Yeah, they try to like bribe her with the helmet with the like mushrooms. Like, you want to discover things about it, right? And she's like, I do. But go, just go, like just get out of here.
Count Olaf takes the helmet as they're leaving. So
yeah,
he now has a helmet of
he's
poisonous
like,
mushrooms.
oh, I will use this to destroy the world. And also myself, because that's how it'll fucking work, you idiot.
Right.
Fucking.
He's a dumb
idiot.
I mean, they should.
Fiona's horrified. Esme finds a ruby ring that belonged to Fiona's mom. Oh yeah, they're like pillaging the Queequeg for anything. Esme finds like a ring that belonged to Fiona's mother, whom she went to school with, and decides to keep for herself. But then the question mark on the sonar appears again, and Olaf like freaks out. And he tells Carmelita to stop fucking tap dancing, or else it'll find us. He's like scared out of shitless. But then basically that's when Fiona takes advantage to let the Baudelaires like escape.
And they fixed the poor hoe with gum.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, because Phil brought brought extra gum from Poultryville. Also, who knows what the fuck happened to Phil or Captain Wittershins. They're just gone. They're just gone. Like, we don't know what happened to them. As the Queequeg escapes, Lemony Snicket himself provides a few more questions. He states that Fiona was right in her suspicions that her mother did not die in a manatee incident.
Because everyone dies in a fire.
Yeah. And then, like, your clue of that is that, like, she and Esme went to school together. He states that Wittershins believed a certain article in the Daily Punctilio that was false, which he showed to the Baudelaire parents, the Snicket family, and Beatrice, which is possibly the reason Beatrice refused to marry Snicket himself. He explains that in the darkness, the Baudelaires could scarcely see the giant monster, which was shaped like a long eyebrow, and which vanished back into the depths of the sea as quickly as it appeared. Yeah. And then they just sit and eat cake as the long Monday night passes. When Tuesday comes, they find themselves at Briny Beach, back where all of their troubles began. Surprisingly, from the fog comes Mr. Poe!
Coughing and wheezing as always.
He also received a message from J.S., whom he naively assumes is the Daily Punctilio reporter, Geraldine Julian.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Why would you assume that?
For some reason.
He's a dumb.
He's a dumb. He tells Hilda to come with him to the police station to resolve all their troubles.
I'm gonna turn you in. You did so many bad things.
Come with me so that I can turn you into the police. And then Violet decoded the Elliot message, which states Violet taxi waiting, and has concluded that a taxi will be at the beach for them. The children say goodbye to the startled Mr. Poe, and they're like, see ya, and then they get into the taxi, and that's when they get to meet Kit Snicket.
Kit Snicket!
Drive to the Hotel Denouement. Yeah, Kit Snicket is fucking dope. She's badass. And then they head to the Hotel Denouement, and then we go straight into the hotel, like the penultimate peril, which is literally the next to the last peril, which is like literally what it means. So just
next to
the last peril.
Great.
And then it starts immediately.
Yeah. This is when all of our favorite characters come back.
Oh my god.
Great. It's a reunion, and we don't know who's a volunteer and who's a villain.
We don't know who's a volunteer, a villain. Like, literally, I love, like, going through, because I, like, went through the plot again on this wiki page today, just to, like, refresh my memory, because I finished the books a while ago. And I love that the wiki page refers to Frank or Ernest as, like, either or, like, in every, Frank or Ernest does this, Frank or Ernest does this, Frank or Ernest, like, every instance it's either Frank or Ernest.
That's what he does in the book. It started to get annoying.
It's very frustrating, because you're like, fuck it, who are you? Just ask them what their name is.
Anymore.
Hi, what's your name? That's all you gotta fucking say, and it won't give you away, I swear.
So yeah, Kit is like, hey, we're gonna dress you up as concierges, so you can be a flaneurs and observe things. And figure out who's evil and who's bad, or evil and good, and
evil and bad.
Evil and
bad.
Things.
Those are the only two differences between people.
She basically is like, give her a signal in the sky if the meeting on Thursday is canceled.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm pregnant, but I'm gonna go on my own solo mission.
Pregnant. Yeah, it's like her other thing. She's like super hella pregnant. She has a cool character design. She got like a bun, some chopsticks inside of it. She looks dope as hell. She's a cool ass character. But she's just like, let me know if the meeting's canceled. That's it. And so she just drops them off, and she's like, "There's two. Be wary of the managers who are identical brothers. Frank, who is a volunteer, or Ernest, a villain. But they are identical, so you won't know the difference unless you ask them."
And they're like, "How do we know?" And she's like, "Use your best judgment. Goodbye."
See ya. The hotel is designed based around the Dewey Decimal System, so like everything's like categorized, which is interesting. The Baudelaires are expected to serve and help people of the hotel. And in particular, whether the mysterious J.S. is helping VFD or its enemies. So is J.S. a volunteer or a villain?
Yeah, asking that for like the whole first half of the book.
Yeah, like literally like the entire time. It's like, is there...
They get two different like interpretations of who J.S. could be. And one is male and one is female. So now they're all confused.
Yeah. They had a lot of, like, see, lots of things at the line. There's lots of people waiting, so immediately they have to just, like, get to work, like, do shit.
So Violet's thing is she goes to the roof, and she finds out that Esme and Carmelita are there.
Carmelita's in a fucking boat in the
She's
pool.
like a sailor, baseball player, pirate.
Yeah.
Something
and then there's people, like, sunbathing, and then they get flipped with giant spatulas.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
And Carmelita's like in the pool, but she has a whole giant boat in the pool.
Yeah, it's just
It's
like
a real boat in the pool.
Just because.
Called the Carmelita.
And so, Carmelita and Esme basically asked, like, Violet to get them a harpoon gun.
But they don't know it's Violet.
Yeah, they don't know it's Violet. And Violet goes to get one, but she has to go to, like, Frank or Ernest to get it. And he asks her if she is who he thinks she is. And Violet replies that she's a concierge and brings the gun to Carmelita. She's like,
what else? What can I do? Can't reveal who I am, but I don't want to give them a weapon, but
I have to do my job.
She doesn't.
Klaus goes to a room where the sawmill industry, so they find Sir and Charles from the Miserable Mill.
And they're still
which
together,
I love,
but bickering.
because at one point they're like holding hands at the end of the book, and I'm like, they're a couple. They're so cute. They're so cute.
They're so bossy.
They're so bossy. They want to go to the sauna, which is like just down the hall, and then he's like listening in to the conversation, and they're talking about a party on Thursday, and someone with the initials JS. However, Frank or Ernest enters and has Sir and Charles vacate the sauna and arrange for a chemist outside to take them to room 547 where organic chemistry is in order to satisfy Sir's claim of liking the burning wood smell.
Sure.
Then, Frank or Ernest asks Klaus to hang, like, a flypaper roll of sticky paper, but, like, big enough for birds outside the window.
So, like,
in order
bird
to catch,
paper?
Yeah, bird paper. So, like, bird paper.
Birds.
Because like apparently they like have an issue of falling birds. Because like the Hotel Denimont is also fucking huge, so like I could see that.
So it's 9 stories at least, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Based off the Dewey Decimal System.
Go based off of the Dewey Decimal System. It's pretty big. And then he asks Klaus the same thing. He asks Violet, and Klaus gives the same response. He's like, I'm a concierge.
Because I don't know who you are, Frank Ernest.
It's just one name now.
Frank Ernest. Then Sunny is going to where the educational people are, and to where she sees Vice Principal Nero, Mrs. Bass, and Mr. Romero from the Austere Academy. Mrs. Bass just came back from a bank robbery, so she's got several bags of money.
And she has like a really tiny disguise on top of her
like
head.
very, very tiny disguise.
Like a tiny blonde wig. Boop.
Yeah. Nero is
just covers the top.
practicing his violin,
horribly,
as always, but he's apparently going to be playing on Thursday. They asked about breaks. And so she takes them to the Indian restaurant in room 954, which is run by Hal from the hostile. Hal, our sweet, lovely Hal, who is now wearing a turban. Cultural appropriation.
That looks like Genghis's turban.
Yeah, it's basically Genghis's turban. When Hal quoted, I didn't know this was a sad occasion, Mr. Romero quoted, it won't be a sad occasion if you don't feed us.
Great.
Great.
It's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
About most things.
I didn't know it was a sad occasion. It won't be sad if you give me food.
Just give me some food,
I'll
be fine.
Fucking ecstatic. Sunny is sent to like get like a napkin, but she's like listening, and someone that might be listens to a conversation by Hal and someone that might be Frank or Ernest, also about JS, and then they see her. Dewey gives her a vernacularly fastened door and has her put it on the lock of a laundry room. Laundry room has a vent through which something can fall, and if the lock is on the door, then something will be protected.
Something.
Vent fall door.
Ooh, vent fall door.
Vent fall door.
Hello. The Baudelaires get together and they're like recounting their day because they had to split up. So they're like, okay, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. How were Frank or Ernest, in 3 places at once? Because there's like a third in there that
How
is not.
How can 2 people be at 3 places at once?
Like, come on, like what the fuck? Klaus deduces that a crow. Sherlock will be bringing the sugar bowl to the hotel, and it will be shot down by the harpoon gun that Violet had to get, and then the bird will fall onto the flypaper that Klaus put up, and the sugar bowl will fall into the laundry room vent, but it will be stopped by the thing that Sunny put up.
Yes.
And
so
then
like, that's where it is.
We did it, and then suddenly a dude like propels from the ceiling, and he looks just like Frank or Ernest. And it's their
like,
other
which
brother.
one are you? And he's like, can I trust you? And it's back and forth and back and forth.
Can I trust you? But can I trust you? But can I trust you? But how about
What's
you?
your
Can I trust
name?
you? What's your name? What's your name? Just like
Just tell me your name.
And it's like it's Franker Ernest's third brother, Dewey Denimont.
Because they're triplets.
They're actually triplets. There's a lot of threes in this series. Threes. Which also explains how there's like a third one was around. He is helpful and tells them that there's a duplicate of the hotel at the bottom of the pond.
So
Which
outside the hotel is like this pond that like is just big enough where the reflection of the hotel it's
like a reflective pool. Like it's like a reflective.
It only holds what the hotel is. Like it doesn't show the sky or anything around because it's just big enough to show the hotel because the hotel is tilted toward it. Yeah.
And like apparently
I don't know.
There's like another hotel. Like every time I read that part, I'm just like, what does that fucking mean? Because you never go down there.
No.
Like,
I think it's just a building that like the roof of it looks like the hotel, but when you go into it, it's just like a secret lab thing.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Secret library, I guess. More accurately.
Yeah, secret library. Blah 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 blah.
And it's like they bond with Dewey so fast.
Yeah, they contain like a
catalog. Oh my god, you have a secret library? We're best friends.
I love secret libraries. They're so great. Then Justice Strauss and Jerome Squalor, who both believe that they are the JS being contacted, which is hilarious. Justice Strauss.
She's back.
Jerome Squalor.
Haha, JS.
Look at them. They're both there. Arrive by taxi where they have been helping Dewey. Both of them have been helping Dewey try to like help the orphans, basically, because Jerome feels bad about abandoning them.
He should.
He should. And then Justice Strauss has been like trying to help them since book one.
Like, I'm sorry.
And so apparently the Thursday meeting is like a trial for VFD. So for all of like the noble people will arrive to give evidence.
That's
and then re-entering the hotel at 1 a.m. This is very important. At 1 a.m. they counter Count Olaf, who says that the hook-handed man and Fiona left. Hook-handed and Fiona stole the Carmelita. Esme, Carmelita, and Hugo, who posed as the rooftop sunbathing salon attendant. Colette, who posed as the passing chemist that went past class near the sauna. And Kevin, the ambidextrous freak, who posed as a freak, washing in the laundry room. The three carnival freaks who joined Olaf and Butter all arrive. They all appear.
They're like, haha, our evilness. It begins.
Colette, like, folds herself from outside of, like, a thing. Hugo just has a hump. Whatever.
Like every character who's still alive is essentially
is here, yeah.
Right here.
Jerome tries to get back with Esme. He's like, hey, babe, remember how we were together? Remember that?
Remember.
Like, no, I just fucking want my sugar bowl that Beatrice Baudelaire stole from me. Oh. And we were just like, whoa. Their mother? What? And then Olaf also hints that the Baudelaire's own parents were not noble, and they had something to do with a box of poisoned darts.
The night that his parents died.
What are we doing here?
So how old is Olaf?
Excellent question.
40s. I don't know.
Anyway.
Then
he's like, I'm going to shoot you with the harpoon gun.
Dewey tells Olaf
the orphans are like, no, we're going to stop you. We're going to stand in the way.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to shoot you, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly Mr. Poe walks in. With his coughiness, and like Count Olaf like quickly gets rid of the harpoon gun by giving it to the Baudelaires, and then the Baudelaires just like, oh shit, no, and then it just
goes off,
and it just charges a harpoon and just fucking kills Dewey.
Murders him
at exactly 2 a.m. So this entire endeavor took an hour.
Yeah,
and Dewey is dead at the end, and it's like, fuck, he had all of the information that we needed, and now he's dead.
Just like starts stumbling backwards, and he falls into the pond outside.
Yeah, it's really
sad.
Yeah.
And he's like, Kit!
Yeah, because also the other thing is that Dewey is Kit's husband and the father of their unborn child. Yeah, so it's also just very sad, emotional moment.
All the sadness.
It's so sad.
And the three kids are like, we did this.
We did it.
Evil. Oh my god.
So now now there's like a he said, she said moment of just
everyone
like
in the hotel wakes up and comes downstairs.
Yeah, they're like freaking
like
out until they have the Baudelaires on trial, and like some people are like the Baudelaires are fucking fucked up, and then the others are like the Baudelaires are great. They've always been wonderful. They're like, well, we gotta fucking go and do this, and then like so they go. They're like locked into rooms, and like told to like we'll get you tomorrow and we'll have the trial.
Yeah.
And when they get them, everyone has like blindfolds on because justice is blind. Guys. The only people who can see.
This is how you conduct a very good trial.
The only people who can see are the actual like judge. That's it.
Little judge people.
Yeah, that's it. So they all come out, and then like everybody has to give like something. All
their evidence while they're blindfolded and get it all the way up there somehow.
Yeah. Geraldine submits the newspaper articles. Sir submits the employment records. Charles submits the environmental studies. Mr. Romero submits the grade books. Mrs. Bass submits the blueprint of banks. Vice Principal Nero submits the administrative records. Hal submits some paperwork. Mr. Poe, I imagine it's just like random paperwork that he just has.
Right.
Mr. Poe submits some financial recordings while coughing. Mr. Lesko submits some rule books while Mrs. Morrow submits some constitutions. Hugo submits some carnival posters. Colette submits some drawings. Kevin submits some books with both his left and right hands. As Miss Waller submits some ruby-encrusted blank pages. Carmelita submits a book that tells how wonderful she is. Frank and/or Ernest submit a commonplace book. An unknown person submits his mother.
Yep.
All other unknown attendees submit.
Yeah, there's just one dude that just keeps shouting about his mother the entire book.
Yeah, he's just like, Mom! Mom!
It sounds like my mother!
And then Jerome Squaller submits his history of injustice, where the lobby filled with a mix of applause and hissing. So, like, all of them are there, and then, like, Count Olaf claims that he is innocent, claiming that the evidence will prove their innocence. The Baudelaires find themselves having a hard time claiming their side of the story like they did with Mr. Poe and the Quagmire triplets. Violet starts to tell their story, and don't they like to, like, we are equally as innocent, or, like, something like that? Like, that's what they say after Count Olaf declares innocence. But Violet just, like, basically starts to tell the story, like, starting at Briny Beach, like, what happened. And then suddenly, like, Justice Strauss is, like, commenting on stuff and being, like, vocal. And then suddenly she's going, And they're like, what the fuck? And if anybody peeks out of their blindfolds, they'll be found in contempt of court. But, like, they're, like, suspicious. So they're like, we gotta look. And they find out that the other two judges are the man with beard but no hair.
And one with hair but no beard.
And they're tying up Justice Strauss currently.
Count Olaf is, like, inching her toward the elevator.
Yeah, and, like, just, like, slowly just, like, pushing her.
They just wanted to capture her the whole time.
So then, like, the Baudelaires are, like, oh, we gotta, like, fucking save them. And they're like, you're in contempt of court. And it's like, no, take off your blindfolds. And everyone's like, no, don't take off your blindfolds. And, like, it's, like, a constant back and forth.
Yeah.
And then finally, like a whole bunch of people, like, take off their things. And they're just don't know what to do. And then, like what was it? It was, like, Mr. Blaze claims that they have bank robbers. And as Mr. Poe asks who said that, Olaf flees with the gagged Justice Strauss, and the Baudelaires chase them to the elevator. And then they get to the elevator.
And they all get into the elevator together.
Yeah, they go together. And then they're like, I can't remember, like, he goes to the laundry room believing the sugar bowl to be inside, using the 3 clues: a literary clue, a clue about the Baudelaires' health, their allergy to peppermints mentioned in the wide window, and a clue about his own family, interestingly enough, that his parents were killed with poisoned darts, suggesting the involvement of the Baudelaire parents. They managed to break inside. The sugar bowl is not inside, but, like, Olaf declares that he's going to the roof to get the specimen of mushrooms, which he will spread to the hotel, killing everyone. He will then escape in a boat, which he will jump in off the roof. Violet, realizing this plan is foolish, agrees to help. Klaus is surprised that she would do this, but Violet knows that they need a way out as well, and going with Olaf may be the only way. And Sunny abruptly suggests that they burn down the hotel, and Olaf agrees. Which is, like, this is where, like, the real, like, murky shit happens. Like, it's like their moral compass is, like, starts to, like, go in, like, a weird direction.
Yeah.
So they, like, basically set fire to the hotel, and then they get back to the elevator, which also, who uses an elevator when there's a fire?
As Sunny points out.
Yeah, but they use, they basically, like, Olaf hits the roof, but then Violet and Klaus just hit
all the buttons.
So that they can go to every single floor and warn people of the fire, but every time they warn people of the fire, Olaf is like, no, don't worry about it, because everyone's still blind from
Even there's backup at their rooms, but they're still blindfolded.
Yeah, like, it's very weird. And, like, so, like, they keep going, and, like,
it's a
it goes through, like, every single person, and, like, Esme, Squalor, and Carmelita Spats were on the second floor. They did not know who to believe and state they could find their own way. It is also mentioned that the Baudelaires will never encounter Esme or Carmelita again.
Yeah.
It's fucking dark.
Yeah.
AKA, they're dead. On the third floor, Mr. Poe hears Sonny's voices just as Strauss tries to tell him that there's a fire, as Mr. Poe claims that he is still in charge of the Baudelaires, though if the elevator doors closed before they can finish hearing what he has to say. Just keep
I'm still
talking.
in charge of your account.
I'm still in charge, I swear. Charles and Sir are holding hands so that they won't lose one another as they bicker over the fact the fire is being good for the lumber industry or not. It's like, aw, look at you two.
Adorbs.
But yeah, it just keeps going up until they finally get to the roof, and then the narrative does not reveal which guests believe the Baudelaires, which guests believe Count Olaf, and which guests believes Justice Strauss, though Lemony Snicket hints that some of them died in the fire.
Yep.
You will never know.
Yeah. On the roof, Klaus reveals that the sugar bowl fell into the pond and not into the laundry room. Here, Violet deduces that Sonny suggested they set the hotel on fire as a signal to the noble people like Kit, Hector, and the Quagmires would cancel the meeting. As Sonny says, the last safe place is safe no more. So the Hotel Denouement was supposed to be like the last safe place for people, whatever. Violet makes a chute for the boat to safely make it off the building, and they use the giant spatulas used for flipping sunbathers as oars. Justice Strauss attempts to stop the Baudelaires leaving on the boat, but Sonny bites her hand and makes her let go. The boat floats safely down to the ocean, and the Baudelaires are left in the same boat as Count Olaf.
Lol. That's where we all began.
Oh, shit. And now we are finally at the end.
The end.
Literally.
Literally the end.
Literally, it's called the end.
Literally the end.
Alright, so, this book
is something, for sure. So it starts with them on the boat, and they're like on sea. The Baudelaires are supposed to listen to Count Olaf brag about how he triumphed, how successful he is, and how rich he will be with his hands.
And then Sonny's like, let's push him over.
let's just kill him. He also changes the name of the boat because the boat was Carmelita's, and he changes it to Count Olaf.
Yeah, he's like leaning over the edge to change the name, and she's like, we could just push him.
We could just
go.
Whatever.
Oh no.
Like
no,
a storm.
No one will know.
They're not murderers.
They're not murderer.
They never decided. They never settled.
They did murder
Dewey.
Yeah.
But that was also an accident.
They didn't like do it on purpose, but
they didn't aim the harpoon gun at him and then shoot it. They were forced.
But it did go straight into his heart, which is like,
I mean,
really direct.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Also, Olaf, like, orders them to, like, take them to the nearest car dealership, and they're just like, we're at the fucking middle of the ocean. Like, what is wrong with you? Are you fucking insane?
What delusions do you have in your brain?
Like, are you insane? There's, like, a storm that happens, and then they, like, finally wash up on, like, an island, where they meet a girl named...
Like a inlet thing?
Yeah. They meet a girl named Friday Caliban, and then, like, they shun Count Olaf immediately, but they welcome the Baudelaires, and then they meet Ishmael, who likes to go by Ish, and, like, he, like, introduces them to the islanders and their customs, and, like, he always tells the islanders, I won't force you, but, like, every single thing is, like, but you kind of gotta listen to what he says,
yeah,
but he's
his
like...
whole thing is about peer pressure.
Yeah, I won't force you to
his whole philosophy.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, because every time there's a storm, everyone has to go out and collect things, and he obviously is like, well, we can't keep this because of violence. We can't keep this because reading is bad. And he's like, I'm not going to force you to get rid of it, but I don't think it's safe, and we want to keep this island safe, and it's been safe the entire time I've been making these decisions, so...
That being said, like after the Baudelaires introduce themselves, Friday suggests toast to the Baudelaires, which her mother Miranda Caliban agrees to. Ishmael says, let's drink a toast to the Baudelaire orphans, despite them not mentioning their lost parents, foreshadowing he knows who they are. They toast with the coconut cordial, so everyone drinks this like coconut cordial, but the Baudelaires don't like it because they say it tastes weird. And, like,
well, it makes them feel weird because it's alcohol. This whole island.
It's a nightmare.
It's alcohol. You were just like
of all the things these kids have been through, you can't serve kids alcohol.
No, I was like, Sonny, what are you doing? You're 2?
Do you know you're 2? She's not a baby anymore, Brittany.
But she is far from an
She's
adult.
old enough to cook. She's old enough to be a spy. She's old enough to nearly die of a
not old
mushroom.
enough to drink.
She can drink coconut cordial.
Seriously.
But they keep getting offered the stuff, and they're like, no, it's weird. I don't like it. Another storm happens, and like more objects come up, and then they find like this like giant fucking cube of books, just like washes up ashore
into like a raft, but a really tall raft.
Yeah, and then on top of it is an unconscious and pregnant Kit Snicket. Like
She's
just
like,
top.
ow, my foot.
Ow. But also the incredibly deadly viper, it washes up, because like this island is basically where all things wash up, is like the idea of it.
This is when it starts getting into like the weird, like, is this real, or
Is
did
this
they actually die? Like
what has
actually
happened?
Getting lost.
Yeah, like is what? Yeah.
they're on an island. Weird things are happening.
Olaf tries to like trick the islanders with like a Kit Snicket disguise, with the helmet with the mushroom as his pregnant belly, and like for the first time in the entire series they see past the disguise.
Seaweed
Like,
for hair. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, the other disguises weren't good either.
yeah.
But everyone's always like, that's clearly not Olaf.
Yeah.
Where's his one eyebrow?
He's got 2 eyebrows. Look, I can't tell because of the hair.
He's wearing shoes. Ugh, that means he must not have a
He
tattoo
can't.
on his ankle.
He can't have it.
I'm honestly surprised he didn't just like cut it off at
Just
one
cut
point.
off
But
his
you know,
ankle.
this is a children's.
Yeah. The islanders then debate whether the Baudelaire should be expelled from the colony when Count Olaf yells out from the cage that they are carrying banned items in their pockets. So, like...
they kept, like, Violet kept her ribbon, Klaus
Yeah.
kept his book, and Sunny kept a whisk that Friday gave her.
Yeah.
So
and then
Friday's in on this, too. But they
Yeah,
don't
so
give
they-
it away.
They have banned
Very nice.
items, and so Ishmael says the children, Kit, and Olaf should all be abandoned unless they agree to abide by the colony's rules. Olaf tries to tempt the children to let him out of the cage by promising to explain the many mysteries and secrets which they have been surrounded by.
About your parents.
But they're like, I'm gonna ignore you, which I'm like, no, I want to know more things. But like, honestly,
don't deal with the devil.
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong, because you probably wouldn't tell them anything anyway.
Exactly.
That night, 2 dudes, Finn
Girl and a guy.
yeah, two peeps, Finn and Erwan, whatever, sneak out to feed the children and ask them if they're favors. So they're planning a mutiny against Ishmael because they don't really like Ishmael.
Yeah, they're
They're
like, all right,
not-
you guys are going to go get weapons for us, and at breakfast, things are going to go down.
Yeah. So they go to the Arboretum, which has like Arboretum.
How do you say that word?
I
I
don't
forgot
know.
to look it up.
No.
How do you spell it?
R, so A-R, and then Bore, B-O-R-E, Tum, T-U-M.
Abortum.
Arboretum. That's what my assumption would be.
The
There's
abortum.
one in Louisville. Come on.
Oh, cool. I like Arboretum, plural. Arboreta. A botanical collection.
composed exclusively of trees?
That's where they go.
But that's not what it is.
The abortum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on.
But there's only one tree. I'm so
And
confused.
collection of
Well,
the
like,
tree.
they go over to the Arboretum where all the contraband items are collected and find some make some weapons to use in the rebellion. So, like, I'm guessing there's just, like, it's like a pocket of, like, stuff. It's just, like, there. Whatever. The Baudelaires find an enormous history of the island, a commonplace book entitled A Series of Unfortunate Events. Guys.
What? 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 What?
What?
What?
What? What?
What?
Written by many different people who had served as island leaders, including their parents
What?
and Ismail. So we learned that the Baudelaire parents were,
live
like,
on
they
the
used to live on, they, like, founded the
They
island.
ruled.
They were
the
once
island.
and were responsible for many improvements meant to make island life easier
Everybody
and more
loved
pleasant, but they were eventually overthrown by
There was a
Ishmael.
mutiny on the parents.
Yeah, who
And
believed
the
that
mom
Ishmael
was pregnant.
forced- Yeah, yeah.
That's why they kicked her out.
This is where Violet was conceived also. They don't
Yeah,
say it, but logically.
But that's what happened. Ishmael believed that a strictly enforced simple life, combined with the opiate of the coconut cordial, was the best way to avoid conflict instead of,
talking about things.
Talking about, like, doing stuff. Ishmael also makes references...
This whole book.
Yeah, this whole book. Ishmael also makes reference to many other people, including a girl with only one eyebrow and ear, the mother of Isaac Anwhistle and Gregory Anwhistle.
Yes.
The Baudelaires and Ishmael go back to the other side of the island where the mutiny is already underway. Count Olaf returns still in disguise. After a brief exchange, Ishmael harpoons Olaf in the stomach, which shatters the helmet containing the Medusiod.
So now everyone is
So
dying.
now everyone's fucked.
The whole island.
So they're like, shit, we don't have, like, any of the,
There's no horseradish on an island.
Yeah.
There was a kitchen in that tree. Let's go check it out.
So they go back to the arboretum to try to find some horseradish to cure everyone, and they learn that their parents had hybridized an apple tree with horseradish, allowing the
tree.
fruit.
How is that?
So their one tree has, like, horseradish infused in it, so they eat one, and they're, like, safe, and then, like, they're good.
Bring apples to everyone. Save the day.
Yeah,
Happy ending. Right?
No.
Wrong.
So
what are you talking about? All books have happy endings.
So Ishmael refuses to allow the apples, like, because they're basically getting on a ship to get to, like, another place to get horseradish. And they're like, no, we have shit. And he's like, no, I don't want that shit on my ship, but I'll eat one. It's fine. So he's fine, but everyone else is dying.
The apples this entire time.
Yeah.
So he's like immune.
Yeah, basically, like he's fine. So they're trying to go to a horseradish factory to save everyone, and then it's hinted that one apple might have been sneaked on board by the incredibly deadly viper to tide them over until they reach the factory. So.
But did that happen?
But did it happen? We don't really know.
Why is the viper still there?
We don't really fucking know.
Because of metaphors. That's the only reason.
The only reason. Kit tells the Baudelaires the fate of the Quagmire is Hector, Captain Wintershins, and his two children, Fernald and Fiona. After reuniting on Hector's float, they are attacked by trained eagles who pop the balloon supporting the float and sending them hurtling back to the ruins of the Queequeg. There they are taken by the mysterious object shaped like a question mark called the Great Unknown by Lemony Snicket. In turn, the Baudelaires confess their own crimes committed at the Hotel of Dead. They basically tell Kit that we kind of killed your husband.
So
Everyone's dead. Let's cry while I'm giving labor.
And then, Kit is, literally about to go in labor. She's dying from the fungus as well, but she can't eat the apple because horseradish has a bad effect, or the hybridization of the things has, a bad effect on babies, or whatever. And then, but then, in, this ridiculous moment, she's still trapped on the top of the, books, and then, a injured and fungus-choked Olaf hears that she's still alive. He takes a bite of an apple, and then gets on top of the books and brings her down safely, and then gives her a kiss, and then also basically dies.
Yay!
Yeah, he then dies. The Baudelaires help Kit give birth to a baby girl. She then dies due to the mycelium after asking the Baudelaires to name the baby after their mother. So they name the baby Beatrice.
Which they don't say right away, but...
No, they don't. They don't name. And then there's that chapter 14.
Oh, what? 14? Yeah. What?
It's
only supposed to be 13. What are you talking about? Is this the happy ending?
No.
Brittany, it's not happening.
So, basically, chapter 14 starts a year later. Kit's baby and the Baudelaires sail away from the island on a boat they arrived to the island on to immerse themselves in the world once more. As they board the ship, Kit's baby says that the boat's actual name, Beatrice, which is also her own name. And this is also the first time we're ever, given, the name of... Because the first time we hear the Baudelaire parents' name is Beatrice's name, when Esme mentions that Beatrice is the one who took Beatrice Baudelaire took my sugar bowl or whatever. But I don't think she says Beatrice Baudelaire. I think she just says Beatrice.
Yeah.
So then you don't know what they name the baby until chapter 14, and where she says Beatrice, which is the name of the boat, which is also her name. And then you're just then you realize all of the
all
notations
of the from Lemony.
All of the Arthur notes are to Beatrice, and it's just yeah, really. I think I don't remember when this book came out or how old I was when I read it, but I know my little brain was fucking blown. It was what the fuck? which is in the last illustration of the book, The Ocean's Wave contains an outline of a question mark, or the great unknown. It means that it is unknown if Baudelaire survived the journey back to the mainland or not. But there's a continuity error in that, specifically. Because the Beatrice letters basically say that they do. Fun
Yay!
fact.
The end.
But that's the end!
Alright, so, craziness happened. Feelings?
Oh god. You take this part first, I guess, because I want to hear your guys' feelings. I definitely want to hear Brittany's feelings on this.
I don't know how I feel yet. I just read this today, so I'm like...
I mean, a lot happened in a
very short amount of time.
Yeah, a very short amount of time, especially towards the end. But a lot of things were also left.
This whole last book was like almost too metaphorical, where it felt like it was more like... It almost felt like more like a morality play than the rest of the books, even though the rest of the books had some sort of like lesson about society and like all these things. This one felt too like almost supernatural, like Lost, where like weird, like all the things are like weirdly metaphorical, and like the apple and the snake are like, you know, the Bible thing, and it's like, what is happening?
It's a little much, my guys, because like literally that tree is like the tree of knowledge, because that's where all of the forbidden objects are.
So I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to interpret that precisely.
Especially because it's like written for children, and like even like we're clearly adults, and we're still like,
what fuck
is happening? And like obviously a kid isn't gonna be like, yeah, the Bible.
Oh yeah, it's obviously the Bible.
Clearly idiots.
Like fucking idiots. And like a baby is born, like
right.
Yeah. Like so I'm not 100% sure what we're supposed to take from it.
Yeah.
Like the simple answer is like, okay, they have like this knowledge now, and they're gonna go out into the world, and basically that's the beginning of this whole new era of
But then they also don't like tell you
anything.
Yeah.
They don't answer.
And they don't even they leave it like, did they survive? But obviously like later on
you learn.
Yeah.
And then there's also the question about what is the great unknown, which is like, it's like, because like the great unknown, nobody knows what the great unknown is, and like there's
well,
like
that's like
it's like the same with the sugar bowl. No one knows what actually is the sugar bowl.
So like this whole ending bit makes me think that the whole book series is happening where they're actually dead, and the parents survived.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Like in the fire.
Yeah.
That's how I'm interpreting it. And so when they get to the island, this is like Lost. This is like you're the middle between like where you're gonna end up and you're unknown. Like.
Yeah.
I mean that would make sense with like VFD being like good or bad, and them never like really explaining.
Exactly. It kind of feels like this whole thing is kind of like this in between. Like you have to prove yourself. Which side are you on?
It's very interesting.
I was like, I definitely didn't think about it like that.
That's a dark theory.
Yeah.
It's very dark.
Nay.
Because like to give like a spoiler for the Beatrice letters.
Do it.
So the Beatrice letters is like a spin-off book, kind of like the unauthorized biography, but they're letters from Beatrice the baby, who's like got separated. No, she's not a baby anymore by the time she gets the letters, but
the baby
in the book. She got separated from the Baudelaire orphans, and she's trying to find them again. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that comes with it is like I'll show you.
Just show it.
Oh God. What are the needs?
So this is what it is, and when you open it, it like has like a little like file folder and stuff in it, and like all of my letters are there. But like it comes with like the actual book, and then it comes with that poster, which is you can't see because it's off screen, but I have a poster hanging up. But one of the things it has is like these perforated letters in every single between every like a bunch of pages. There's like these perforated letters. And when you punch them out and you spell them out, it literally says Beatrice sank. So like it's like, okay, what? But like this mentions like Beatrice is alive, and she's older, and she's looking for the orphans who she got separated from, and it mentions, like, all of them much older, but then also, like, I have it on the other side, but on the back side, there's, like, there's a backside of that poster which shows a wreckage, which shows Violet's ribbon, Klaus's glasses, and Sunny's whisk, but on the side that I have showing, it shows all of that in a cave. Like, so it's, like, it's super, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Contradicting. Like, are they alive? Are they dead? What the fuck happened?
Maybe it's just your interpretation of it.
Basically, but, like, there's, like, all these letters are like,
that's what they kept saying in the last book too. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, it's, like, hard to, like, determine, like, if they are alive or
it's really
if
annoying, man. Just tell me straight.
That's why I think they're in some sort of like in between.
Yeah. They're like that, like, makes sense.
All these bad things keep happening, and they keep, like, having these moral dilemmas where they are doing bad things.
Yeah.
But
like, their moral compass, like, skews throughout the entire series, especially towards the end. I think, like,
they didn't kidnap Esme. I mean, that was fun too.
I think, like, that, like, moment of, like, them being separated from Sunny, like, triggered it. Like, they got separated from each other, and, like, it was like, we have to do anything we can to protect ourselves.
Also, like, shit got real. Like, real
Yeah,
fast.
shit got real
like,
fucking
at first
real.
it was like, we need to avoid Count Olaf, and then it was like, we need to get some answers and, like, follow this dude.
Yeah.
So.
Because, like, they had a moment where, like, it turned out that one of their parents could have been alive.
Right.
And that was, like, the only person, like, the only way we're going to find out if that's true is if we fucking follow him. And then that, like, skews everything. So it just, like, it does make sense, like, especially with the last book, with how metaphorical it is in all of its aspects, that it would be, like, this, like, giant metaphor that actually they're dead.
Like, how all the different locations are actually so close to each other makes me think that it's this really small, like, in-between world, and, like, because they don't talk about really outside of this weird city and ocean area.
Yeah.
So.
Like,
everything is connected through tunnels and stuff. Which
it was just creepy.
Like, I'm interested to see what'll happen with the show, because since they have Daniel Handler helping them with, like, writing it.
Yeah.
So, like, we
might get more answers, because they've revealed things earlier than in the books.
For sure.
So.
Because they've also set up everything way earlier so that the mystery is already there. So, like, the Sugar Bowl mystery is already there. We didn't really get involved in the Sugar Bowl mystery until way later in the series, but the Sugar Bowl mystery is already fucking happening. Like, it's already, like, they're, like, the orphans are already being introduced to the VFD, which they weren't introduced to until much later in the books.
Yeah.
So, it's, like, there's definitely, like, I definitely think that the trajectory to the end is going to be completely different, in my opinion. I feel like the end is going to be completely different from the, like, on the show from what the book actually is. Because it would be, like, because, like, I feel like, especially if it is, like, this metaphor thing, I imagine there will be, like, an uproar.
Better get some answers on this show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
it's
are
probably going to have the same reaction as the last season of Lost, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, like.
That whole season was just, what?
What the fuck is happening right now? Because, like, the show has the 4 books that we just read is the last 4 episodes for the show. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see how
they handle
it all
kind
goes.
of the religious aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I think that the end is going to change dramatically, in my opinion. At least I hope it does, because I hope it gives more answers.
Right.
The fucking penultimate peril episodes are going to be fucking insane. It's just going to be chaos. It's just, like, everybody running around all over the place. And then you'll be like, oh, it's that guy! Remember that guy? From there? Oh, my God.
But yeah, so how did you guys all feel about them, like, being, like, everyone on the island being basically tipsy at all times to be pliable islanders? Like,
I mean, I thought it was a good way of life.
I mean, yeah,
Sounds great to me.
Fucking hell yeah, I'll take your coconut cordial. Let's get fucking hype. Let's go. I think I think it makes sense for who Ishmael is, because it's easier to convince people that you're not manipulating them and peer pressuring them when they're kind of drunk.
Well, yeah,
so,
but that's like what cults do.
Oh yeah,
and then, but then and then when the way that they left, like he knows he's safe, but they're all gonna die.
Yeah,
like a cult thing.
Yeah,
where everyone just dies.
Sure. It's for sure 100% a cult that's on that island.
That whole thing, it was like
Jim
Jones.
Jim Jones straight up.
I just watched a documentary about that. That's literally what happened.
Isn't that like Jim Jones documentary? Fucking dark.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway. Long story. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically like instead of like all of them popping like cyanide, they just were accidentally introduced to poisonous mushrooms, and then
like, let's go out to sea and die together.
Right.
But
then
then
eats
an apple.
So I'm not gonna do it.
So I'll be fine. I'll use your corpses to sail. It's fine. Cause that's just like, so it's interesting to me because I wish we could have seen and learned more about what it was before Ishmael took over, and like what it might have been like. Because also like, why?
It was so great. Like, why did?
Well, Ishmael to believe that the way that the Baudelaire parents were leading wasn't the right way to lead to be like safe. So I'm also interested. I think because we know that the Baudelaire parents were leaders for the island, but there were also leaders before that. So it would be interesting if the reason why they ended up on that island is because of the schism, because the sugar bowl instance happened, which caused the schism. So because the island is like where everything ends up. So I imagine they like went into hiding.
Sugar bowl's there.
Yeah, the sugar bowl's there. It most likely is. No, actually, it's hinted that it's actually Lemony has it, but
of course he does.
Yeah, but it's also hinted that, but it's never confirmed that it is Lemony. It's just like somebody who the orphans talk to in the hotel in like a taxi, and like he like drives away, and then like the like small thing that was sat on his driver's seat still wet from where they found it. It's very So it's not there. Like someone
when they didn't go with that guy, I was like, come
guys, get in the fucking taxi.
I was like, and they're just like gonna go up the steps with Mr. Poe now?
Yeah. Jesus.
Doesn't make any sense.
Thought we were done with that guy.
Yeah, same. But it's hinted that guy in the taxi is Lemony Snicket.
He totally is.
It has to be. There's no other person that it could be.
We're gonna know in the show. They're gonna show him, so.
Yeah, obviously.
It's gonna be him.
And it's gonna be great. But so like my thinking is that they ended up there, and then they made the island kind of this really great place, and then they like were able to like do stuff, but then Ishmael was an asshole and wanted it his way or something. But I wish we could have learned more about like what the island was before Ishmael took over.
Yeah.
Because that would have been interesting, and I think like more fascinating.
Yeah.
Probably. And it answered some questions, but obviously the entire end doesn't really answer any questions. It just gives you more questions.
More questions.
I think the whole idea we're supposed to get at the end is like, oh my god, everything froze. What's happening?
Oh no.
Hello?
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay. Hi.
Is
it working?
Yes.
I think it's working. Okay. I freaked out for a second. My heart's going.
Just like, okay, everything's fine. Everything is fine.
I'm just waiting for this to catch up so I know.
Yeah, it's like, so we know for sure if it's working now.
I think we're still recording. Hello?
Let's pretend.
Alright, it's
fine.
Alright, cool. Anyway.
It's fine.
We're still podcasting.
We did it.
So, I think at the end, especially because the orphans become parents, it's supposed to be like this whole book is partially a theme on, as a parent, how much do you expose your kids to the world? And how much do you protect them? Like, that whole balance.
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
I think that's, because, like, okay, that brings up, like, a thing with, like, Esme and Carmelita. Mm-hmm. So, like, Esme basically adopts Carmelita as, like, a daughter, and
she has parents.
Yeah, which is hilarious. She's like, she's our child now. Because she's like she was with the Snow Scouts, and the Snow Scouts is led by her uncle Bruce.
Right.
So, like, she has family.
Right.
But she, like, adopts, and, like, but Carmelita is also then exposed, because Carmelita goes everywhere with Esme to, like, all of this shit that's happening. And, like, we don't know specifically what's going on with why Carmelita is the nasty person that she is, but part of me believes that, like, the reason why she's, like, consistently nasty is because, like, nastiness is just constantly around her, and she's been exposed to all kinds of fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I started thinking about that idea is Count Olaf says, I think in 11, Grim Grotto, what are you going to believe, Carmelita? Count Olaf asked. A silly book or something an adult tells you?
Ooh.
So that's what got me thinking about it, because they keep saying that books have, like, all this treacherous details, and it's too much for young people, and you just shouldn't. Like how people try to get kids to not read these books.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because they're treacherous, and
thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because, like, there's, like, this whole message throughout the thing where, like, being a well-read person and using books makes you a good person. Because if you're a well-read person, you're a good person.
But only the well-read people say that.
Yeah, this is true. You bring up, that's the other thing. It's, like, only well-read people.
And if we're going with the metaphor of, like, the whole apple thing, like, Adam and Eve, like, getting that knowledge, like, they were shunned for it.
Well, there's,
they got in trouble for getting that knowledge.
Oh yeah, they did a lot of that shit happened because of that. Allegedly.
in the story of the Bible.
Because there's, like, the whole thing of, like, ignorance is bliss. So, like, while Adam and Eve were, like, blissful in their ignorance, like, God wanted them to be that way.
Ishmael was called Ishmael for a reason. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
So, like, he's a prophet, right? I think so.
Yeah.
I think I looked that up.
Yeah.
And he's like...
There's also, like...
Who's he?
He was Abraham's son, I believe.
There's a potential that he might have a grudge against a white whale.
There's that, too.
Well, that's Captain Ahab. Ishmael was his, like, servant. First mate.
He was around.
He was around.
There's a lot of things happening all at once.
The first line of Moby Dick is, "Call me Ishmael."
Is it?
Yeah, because it's like Moby Dick takes place in the eyes of Ishmael, who is a crew member of Captain Ahab's ship.
Never read it.
Yeah, that's
the thing.
I know barely the story.
But I thought it was interesting that Ishmael is the one who's supposed to be, like, kind of a stand-in for, like, the God figure, just because he's like, that name is, like, a prophet and all that stuff. But the way that he's, like, leading is keeping everyone ignorant and, like, really, like, docile and drunk all the time.
What God wanted.
But then the thing that, like, keeps the Baudelaires from falling for that is basically their knowledge.
They don't drink. Yeah, their knowledge and them not drinking the cordial.
Yeah. They don't drink that juice. Crazy juice.
According to Muslim tradition, Ishmael, the
kid looks like he's dead.
And her son Ishmael. Well, that's Ishmael.
No, I know who it is. I read the.
He's definitely
Hagar.
He's definitely
Hagar.
Hagar. We're reading about Ishmael.
Looking at a picture of his mother. Her name was Hagar.
She was fucking haggard. Okay. Because, yeah, that, like, there's definitely, like, everything that happens in these books, there's a reason for it, and there's a metaphor behind it in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Like, that's not surprising. So, using the name Ishmael doesn't...
Yeah, I think it's on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously. I'm trying to, like, think, like...
And I like that he wanted to be called Ish, because, like, all of his actions are, like... Are you good or bad? Like, his intentions are good. Like, he's trying to keep everyone safe. That's his intention. But the way that he's doing it is making everyone ignorant. So it's like, however you, like, it is, how do you look at it? Is ignorance bliss or is ignorance bad? Like,
yeah. Because, like, there's, like, that's the whole thing is, like, because if you know the difference between good and evil, which is like what, like the tree of knowledge is what Adam and Eve ate from, which made them in Genesis, made them like God. So like now, since they knew the difference between good and evil and had morals, because like they were fine with being naked, and then suddenly they weren't okay with being naked. Basically, is what happened. They were embarrassed by it.
That was when they learned the idea of shame, basically, because
shame.
When you get that idea of good and evil, then you know what's good and bad.
Exactly.
In society.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. But like also they made society, so like. They could have just been fine with being naked. Whatever.
It cost me a lot less money.
Yeah, for sure. This is not a religious podcast. Go on about Genesis. Let's read Genesis for our next one.
I was totally I was like, let's critique a bunch.
We'll make a lot of people angry.
I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but
so like it's like there's like the thing where like if they hadn't eaten from that tree, they would still be happy and blissful. We would all still be happy and blissful because
if the Baudelaires and all the Islanders don't eat from the tree, they're dead.
They're literally gonna die.
Or, in my theory, they're going to hell.
Yeah.
But it's kind of opposite. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why it was confusing for me, because they were like, in this, they're saying the tree of knowledge is a good thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like kind of in Genesis, it's kind of like this is bad. Because Satan is the one tempting you toward it.
Who lures them to it. Which also,
but the
like,
snake is also good in this, and the snake in that is bad. So
yeah, it's opposite. Which is like I think a very interesting take. Like if we think about that, because there's like a lot of people who believe that like if they hadn't eaten from it, then what would our lives be now? Like would we be where we're at now? Like technologically wise, like just mentally, like would we have evolved to what we are today if this allegedly happened? Like would we be like in the state that we are now, or like, and also if we didn't, like it doesn't mean that we would necessarily have been happy, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we like even if Adam and Eve didn't do it, it wouldn't have necessarily stopped their future children and then all of us from potentially doing it as well. And like that's the whole thing of like how Satan is like going to tempt you no matter what. Like there's evil everywhere, and there's going to be temptations everywhere.
There's always going to be a series of unfortunate events.
Exactly.
No matter what.
But like there's also the thing that like a lot of people are actually thankful to like Satan for doing that, because like if they hadn't done that, then like that's why Satanism is a thing. But Satanism is actually a very like interesting religion if you ever look into Satanism, because it's literally like their 10 commandments is like you shall not rape, you shall not do like these horrible things that are done consistently in the Christian Bible. And it's just like it's very interesting, like the concept of like the end taking what is normally considered like the good and bad from the Bible and flipping it.
Well, yeah, and it happens at the end instead of the beginning.
Yeah, like this is the end, which also kind of like sets up that their story kind of isn't over a little bit potentially, but also could be, since it is flipped, it could be that no, yeah, they're just dead. They died. They're gone.
It depends on what you believe, I guess, and think.
Yeah. But like I think that's like the whole. I think that's also a part of the series, though, because the series like kind of sets up that you should be thinking and you should be using your brain. And
yeah,
all
the good people read and they're very knowledgeable and they like thinking about
look at you.
Logic.
You're a child who's reading, so you are a good person.
Good job.
You can use your brain because you have a brain because you read. So like use your brain to make those decisions. So I think it like.
And I like that part. I forget which book it is, but he's like, Violet and Klaus, using the term, they weren't born yesterday, that sort of thing. But if you were born yesterday, congratulations for learning how to read so quickly.
Yeah. Wow. Super proud of you.
Good job, baby.
But like, it's like, I think it's like this book, although it's like, we've mentioned a lot, doesn't feel like it's for children. I think it definitely like feels like the way it's written, it feels like it's for children, but then it also doesn't treat them like children.
Right.
It like, you have a brain and you are a person and you can use your brain to make these assumptions.
It's doing what like the orphans do throughout the entire thing. They're exposing themselves to these terrible things.
Right.
And it's like, even if you're a 5-year-old reading these books, it's like, that's kind of the theme of the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, first of all, congratulations.
Wow. Like,
5 years
amazing.
old. That's great.
But it's like one of these like books
Isn't
where
that
I
when
can
you begin to read?
Yeah, but not this. You can't like read. This is like actually like a young reader book. This is like in the 8 to 12 category.
She works at a bookstore. She knows.
Well,
But
that doesn't mean that 5-year-olds aren't reading it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because like it's like people read like Harry Potter does like a bedtime book to like their 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, because like at that point your brain is cognitive enough.
So there's illustrated editions now.
Yeah, there's illustrated Harry Potter edition, which are gorgeous.
They're so great.
They're really, really cool. But I could see this book being like as they get a little bit older, like reading it with your parents, because like you should like. I feel like it's important to expose your kids to like stuff like that happens in these books.
Bad things of the world.
Yeah, because then it teaches you how to like deal with them and then like move past them and
kind of. I don't know if it teaches you how to deal with them, but more so that they exist.
They exist, and that you can still be a person and move past it. Because like although we don't really get an ending for it, like I feel like you see that they clearly like deal with it, and they manage to get. And
I think that's part of the thing where they become parents at the end, even Sunny, because they've gathered all this knowledge, and now they're teaching a baby.
Now they're teaching a baby
all the treacheries of the world.
Yeah,
she's 2 years older than the baby.
Yeah, which is terrifying.
That's weird.
A little bit.
But yeah, the whole reason they leave the island is because they're like, well, we can't just stay away from the real life forever. Yeah. Because we know this isn't real life. We know there's bad things in the world. And if we stay on this island, it's like, yeah, you're away from the bad stuff, but you're also away from the good stuff.
Yeah, you're away from...
Because you can't have the good without the bad.
Yeah. They both exist. They both have to be there. Harmony. Just random songs start playing, like,
The more you know.
Oh my god. But yeah, like, it's like, they have to go, like, I think they, like, realize, like, they obviously didn't want to sail with, like, a newborn infant, because that would be horrendous. So, like, waiting a year was a smart decision. So by that point, Violet is 16. Klaus is 14. And then Sunny is
like 3.
Maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah, roughly around that area, like, because we never really know her age.
Right.
And then little Beatrice is 1. So it's like yeah, like they have to go back, because like fucking Poe is in charge of their finances still, and like Violet is 2 years away from getting all that fucking money.
Yeah.
I know, they should just wait till she was 18, and then we get back and it's like, hey,
what's up?
We can go get a house and have it burned down, yay!
But yeah, there's like in the Beatrice letters, it's like mentioned that like Violet has like severe PTSD now, and she's like haunted by like the memories of stuff that happened. I can't remember what goes on with Klaus or Sunny, but I remember Violet stood out to me because it was just like she's like severe, like she doesn't sleep at night very well, like, and stuff like that. So yeah, she's got a rough. Poor girl had to become a mother at 16, 15.
I mean, Sunny had to become a mother at 3.
But yeah.
All she did was really make the food, but...
All Sunny had to do was take care of the other baby, whereas Violet had to take care of the other 2, and then also the baby.
Klaus would take care of himself.
Klaus is fine.
But she did promise her parents that she would watch out.
She would take care of her siblings, because she's a good big sister.
Yeah, that's what you do.
I'm like upset that at no point in the book does like Klaus go through like a growth spurt and then becomes like ginormously tall.
Nope.
No, he stays small pretty much the entire way through.
I'm sure he's fine with it.
But like yeah, like around like 14 or 15 is when like boys like fucking just.
Yeah, but you can have growth spurts till you're like 25, so.
Oh, well, yeah, boys can have growth spurts all the way up until 21. Like they're just still growing. Girls stop growing at like 15 or 16. That's why girls are taller than boys in like middle school,
and then the year after that.
In like high school,
everyone switches.
I've been the same height since I was like 7.
Yeah.
7th grade. I meant 7th grade.
I meant 7th I've been grade. This high.
7.
I've been 4 feet tall.
That would be terrifying. Can you imagine?
Be.
Oh my god. Horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was
what did
the
you
end.
think? The entire series as a whole, since this is your first time ever reading the series.
I liked it overall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that I know like what's in it, I'll be more cautious of who I recommend it to.
Smart.
When
but if you're going off of the theme, you shouldn't. You should recommend it to everyone.
Everyone should read it.
Yeah, but it's hard to explain to parents why their child should read about the second you say their parents die or that they're orphans, no parent wants to give that to their child. Like, legit, it's horrible.
You could just do what I did and just be like, Mom, buy this book for me. And she would just be so happy that I was reading that she was like, okay.
Well, yeah, no, talking to kids, it's easy.
Yeah.
But, like, but overall, I liked the whole thing. Again, the beginning books were harder for me to get through, just because it was, like, the same story, like, 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
But then it started to get good. It started to like turn and things started happening, like one thing after another.
The plot actually starts to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. And so overall, I thought it was good. It wasn't like the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I liked the characters. The 3 main characters were pretty well developed.
They're good, yeah. They're good, well developed. Especially since they're children. They're very well developed characters.
How do you feel about their writing style?
Yeah, I was about to say, like in the beginning, I really liked that he broke the 3rd or 4th or whatever the fuck it's called.
Wall. Mentally for women until early 20s, men mid late 20s, physically women late teens, early 20s.
Thank you.
Thank you, John, for explaining. We already know this shit.
I liked that he explained like words. Specifically, because sometimes I didn't know the words.
I love the way he defines them, too.
Yes.
Because it's not like the definition.
In context, yeah.
Right, exactly. And I thought that was really cool. It did start to get a little annoying, and towards the middle.
I think towards the end, it becomes, like, extremely annoying, because it's, like, Lemony. Like,
yeah, I'm just like, okay.
Can you give us some answers, Lemony? Like, I know you got some shit hiding in there.
I didn't like that they reintroduced the characters every book. And I don't know if that's just because, like...
Well, they came out over a year.
Yeah, you have to remember that, like, it came out, like, it wasn't, like,
a year apart?
Like, yeah, like, almost always it was, like, a year apart.
But, like, the thing is, though, like, if I'm reading, like, a series, like, they don't really do that. Like, they do, like, sometimes they do, like, a short recap.
Yeah.
Or something, but I felt like it was literally just, like...
They're likey, like, broke. Julia, 2018. Fuck you, John. Also, John, I have your dish. I meant to text like you like days ago, but I got it.
Anyways.
Anyway, moving on.
I don't even know. Oh yeah, the reintroduction of the characters. Just because like it wasn't even like he explained like Violet is the oldest Baudelaire. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did it. Yeah. Kill it. Oh god.
That was horrible, and my hands are all clammy.
They were a little clammy, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
Well, everyone knows now. But just like I felt like that was a detail that if like you didn't need to revisit again, and I understand it's like a kid's book, and I don't remember like as a child your memory. How great that is. I don't know. My memory now isn't the best. So, but overall, yeah, I mean, I liked the way he wrote. I liked that he kind of broke the third wall.
Fourth wall.
The fourth one.
Fourth wall.
Broke the 4th page.
Yep. That thing.
Sweet. Sounds good, John. Yeah, like to bring up your point of, like, the reintroduction of the characters, I think it's, like, extremely, like, dumbed down. Because, like... But I think that's also because these are for young readers.
Right.
And then it's
I got that. I kept reminding myself, too. I'm like, this is for,
because you get into the plot and you're just like, why... Like, it's like a dark plot, and then you forget that it's actually meant for kids. And so that's when you understand why they're reintroducing the characters the way they are. And then also, we read them, like, back to back to back.
That's true.
But there's, like, a year or so in between each of the books.
Yeah.
So, like, you kind of had to do the introduction. And, like, by the time you get to the end, like, you don't need the introduction necessarily, but there are still young readers who are reading it who might not. Yeah. And, like, it's, like, a detail that's, like...
I don't know. I remember when I was little and they did those recap things, it was, like... It wasn't annoying to me because I was like, oh, yeah, I know that guy, and I knew it before you even said it. Like,
I'm so fucking smart.
I remembered.
It's like there's because it happens in because that like recap thing happens in like young adult books still.
Your cat is so cute.
Oh yeah, look at this shit. Like
he just flopped out.
Sorry, he does that.
He's so cute.
Because like there's like YA books that do like that recap thing, because the Vampire Academy series does it, but also a lot of fucking shit happens in those books,
right?
That is like super important to like, especially because there's a lot of like cliffhangers at the end of like some of those books, so it's like we kind of fucking need the recap. And like Rochelle Mead like released those books pretty fucking fast to the point where like I didn't even keep up with when they were released, because usually you get like because I follow her on Facebook, and, like, she would be like, oh, it's coming out. But, like, some of them came out so fast that I didn't see any of that shit. And I, like, just went to the bookstore, and I was like, oh, shit, it's out.
Another one.
But, like, that recap was, like, always needed, because, like, so much fucking shit happened.
Yeah, and
but,
it's
like,
way more complicated than, like, here's the villain, here's the good guy.
Yeah. Because
We're
like
going
Rose
after the thing.
I'm a vampire, which is half vampire, half human, and there's, like, a thing, and, like, whatever. My best friend is like Morai, and I could see into her brain, and I have a boyfriend, but he's like evil now and like some shit.
It's
like,
great.
It's like,
all right, to the plot.
Now here we go. It's like, holy shit. Okay, cool, got it. So I like that recap happens, but I think this one, because it's like actually meant for young readers, it has to be like slightly like dumbed down a bit more.
I realized that. I just like it was still. Like,
it was like when we like read Nancy Drew, and I had to keep reminding myself that it was written in the like 50s, and I was like, oh, it's written in the 50s. It's written in the 50s. Don't be fucking mad, like this girl, for going to this weird man's house and having dinner with him just because he invited her over. Like, it's just like this, I had to constantly remind myself of shit like that. And same with Little Women. It's like,
like this book is so sexist.
It's like it's like a patriarch where like it's like the like thing, it's like the embodiment of feminism, but like is it though? I mean, at the time maybe, but like definitely not now for sure. What you looking up? Reading over there?
My Kindle. It's
very
scrolling
good.
Through all the pages, back to my highlight.
Oh, okay. No. Barely.
Nope.
It's like scrolling really fast.
Is it just doing it on its own?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to get to the highlight. Because I got the bundle where it's all 4 books in one book.
Okay, got you.
So it's like
there's a lot
trying to find it.
Like, you have a highlight in here somewhere. I'll find it, I swear.
I have a lot. This is taking forever. It's still not done.
Like, ooh, the best part is next time I actually own the book, so I can actually highlight, and there's probably already highlights in there.
Oh shit, son!
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I already got it on my Audible app for The Giver, and like
there's like some sort of anniversary edition. I really wanted. It's hardcover. Oh my god, it looks so pretty. Because my copy I stole from my middle school.
Nice.
Yep.
Solid.
I just said that on record.
Sorry,
Miss Wells.
I didn't steal, I swear. Promise, I'm not a thief. But I highly recommend with this series, with the series of Unfortunate Events, like reading the other books, so reading the unauthorized biography, reading the Beatrice letters, and then I still need to read the prequels, which are about Lemony Snicket himself and like his stuff, because they do reveal a lot of stuff. Like you learn.
It was like I looked at the wiki page for the Beatrice letters like halfway through the books like halfway through like the series, because I was like, what are these letters in the beginning? Like I was like curious that I needed to know.
All of the notations at the beginning from Lemony are to Beatrice Baudelaire, because they were at one point engaged.
Right. So I was gonna say
this is from baby Beatrice. So like, but when you pick it up, you're like, oh, are there letters from Beatrice to Lemony?
Right. That's what I thought.
It's not.
Like everything. Not. So I'm just like, I am gonna look in here, and then I'm like, I don't know.
But it's also like it's like super fascinating. But the unauthorized biography also gives you some information. It teaches it tells you how like the kiss that Olaf gives Kit is like part of like it like introduces it, but it is like confirmed that they were at one point engaged. Olaf and Kit were. And then the schism happened, and then Kit was like, I'm a volunteer, and he was like, well, I want to be a villain, and then they broke up. And it also teaches you how the volunteers are inducted, which they have to be stolen by their ankle and dragged. So they're not volunteers, they're kidnapped. And it's very weird, very interesting.
Isn't that how the movie sounds? Or the series?
Kind of, but not like the series like actually has like a moment where a girl like actually joins the VFD because she's helping the Baudelaire orphans because she meets them at the Austere Academy. She's their librarian, but she's not in the books at all. But then she's trying to help them and she discovers some stuff but then she gets separated from them because of obvious reasons. And then she runs into Jacques basically, and then who's played by Nathan Fillion, which is
Nathan.
He's just wonderful. They basically give Jacques a bit more of a character. Like, you don't get introduced to Jacques literally at his death, like in the books. You actually get to see.
There's like little side plots happening.
And then there's like a Jacques and Olaf meeting with Neil Patrick Harris and Nathan Fillion, and it's just amazing. It's glorious. Anytime they're together in a room, I'm just really happy.
Beautiful. Captain Hammer and Dr. Horse.
Captain Hammer and Dr. Horse. Yeah, it's just so good. But she he basically she gets in his taxi because he's pretending to be a taxi driver at the time because taxi drivers are a thing I'm pretty sure that's explained in the unauthorized biography as well, but they'll he asks her to you need to volunteer for it, and she's like, I want to do it, and so that's how she's inducted into it. She's not dragged by her ankle and stuff. But I think that you volunteer technically because I think I'm pretty sure you get when you get in a taxi and they'll ask you you get in a taxi unsuspecting, and they'll ask you do you want to join the thing, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, why not, and then they'll find you in the night and then kidnap you and drag you by the ankle to the BFD.
Yay!
Why not?
It's pretty great. I'm gonna confirm that because
better than some hazing.
some hazing.
Did you find your highlights, Brittany?
No, but I'm trying to find a different one.
Did you know VFD actually stands for variable frequency drive? Just FYI, I just googled VFD and that's what popped up. Also, it can refer to a vacuum fluorescent display. Series of unfortunate events. We should probably specify.
Yeah.
Volunteer fire department.
Okay, this is the last highlight I made, which might help close out what we're doing. So this is as Kit is in labor and the baby's being born. And all the stuff is happening. So it says, in any case, this is how all of our stories begin, in darkness, with our eyes closed, and all our stories end the same way too, with all of us uttering some last words, or perhaps someone else's, before slipping back into darkness as our series of unfortunate events comes to an end.
Ooh.
Wow. That's deep.
It's a fucking good line.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So yeah.
I like that. But I also don't like that he refers to our lives as just a series of unfortunate events.
But they are.
I mean, but yeah, that's true. Because I think you also remember unfortunate moments.
Well, yeah, that was another quote. Hopefully I did. That was another quote. They were talking about happiness, and how. Oh, here it is. It is almost as if happiness is an acquired taste, like coconut cordial or ceviche, to which you can eventually become accustomed. But despair is something surprising each time you encounter it.
Yeah. So you always remember, despair, you remember bad moments, especially when they happen quite often, way more than you remember happy moments. So, you can dictate
they
your
shape
life.
You way more than happy moments.
Yeah. You can dictate a time in your life by a bad event. More so than oh yeah, one time this thing happened that was really funny. It's yeah, when I was in 3rd grade, this kid pushed me down the stairs and it changed my life forever. You can
now I'm scared of stairs.
Yeah, now I'm terrified of stairs. Yes, I want to confirm that recruitment into the VFD volunteers are recruited by VFD at a very young age if they are seen by other volunteers to be observant, even those currently at apprenticeship. Neophytes or young trainees of VFD are carried away by their ankles in the middle of the night.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Great.
From
Is that why the
infrequently.
tattoo is on the ankle?
Yeah, probably. On the day you officially, this is from the unauthorized biography, from Infrequently Asked Questions about VFD. On the day you officially join the organization, you'll hear a noise outside your home. It may sound like the howling of a wolf, the cawing of a crow, names many different sounds, or the turning of a page. The noise will come in the middle of the night, the middle of the morning, or in very rare cases, late in the afternoon. Ask your parents what the noise was. If they replied nothing, they were replying in code, because there is never nothing outside of one's home. If you are interested in volunteering, answer your parents with the following question. If there's nothing out there, what was that noise? We will be listening, and we'll know it is safe to act. So you volunteer.
By saying that phrase.
Yeah, but you don't volunteer. Recruitment has also been known to occur when a taxi driver attempts to show his passenger a photograph of a baby, something that notably happened in the reptile room. After being taken from their homes with their parents' permission.
That's in parentheses.
Neophytes were once taken to the VFD headquarters, where each was given a commonplace book and trained throughout childhood and into adulthood in a particular topic that interested them. Beatrice Baudelaire, for example, was trained in the art of rhetoric. According to Captain Wintershins, VFD isn't just a fire department. It started that way, but the volunteers were interested in every such thing. Before the schism, volunteers were required to get a tattoo of the VFD insignia on their left ankles. When a volunteer graduates, they are to choose their chaperone and become an apprentice under them. So yeah, there's like a whole fucking deal. But like I guess they stopped doing the VFD like tattoos because obviously like shouldn't know.
Caused a lot of Count Olaf problems.
Yeah. But it starts off as like a volunteer fire department, and then but people expressed interest in doing other things, and so like it just kept.
Yeah, and then like you could easily make that metaphorical fires. So.
Absolutely, like they put out like a lot of shit.
Fire in my life.
Fire in my life.
So, what do you think? If this whole thing is like a big metaphor for life, oh my god. What do the volunteers represent?
Probably keep Copernicus in the cat frame because he's adorable. Wait, what did you say? Sorry, we were reading John's chat.
If like this whole series is like a whole metaphor for life and all that stuff, whatever. What are volunteers representing? Because villains are obviously representing like societal or cultural things that we need to like fight against because they're bad, like mob mentality and all that stuff.
Right.
But what do the volunteers represent?
Volunteers?
Friends.
The good in life. Well, because like there's like that we just talked about, like there's like the good, there's like a duality to everything in life. So there's a good and a bad. Right. So if there's bad, so if the villains represent all the bad in life, so like everything that like the mob mentality and all that shit, the volunteers are like what happens when good people do come together and like to make a difference and like be that good in the world that needs to be there. So like the villains could represent like there's like the whole thing of like, oh, you shouldn't trust, like there's like this idea that this book like sets up like that you can't trust people, you can't trust adults, which is why they were banned by some things. But I think the villains represent that side of like there are bad people in the world, but there are also really good people in the world who really do want to help. The issue is that and I think the penultimate peril like sets that up really well. It's like you can't always tell the difference, and like you have to make that judgment, because Kit even says that use your judgment. She trusts the Baudelaires enough to know that they have good heads on their shoulders and know that they can tell the difference between good people and bad people based on their ability to tell when Olaf is actually in disguise and not. So like it like sets it up that like you won't always know the difference, but there are good and bad people, and there are good, like there's the volunteers who are those good people in the world, and then there's the villains who are those bad people in the world, and it's you who has to decide what they are.
So what if you're someone who is actually a villain, but you think you're a volunteer? Like Ishmael.
I love that. That's pretty good. That's a good question.
Like you think, because like I said, what he's doing, he has really good intentions.
Right.
But
he's just doing it in a bad way. Cause that's like.
So
that's
is
like,
he a volunteer or a villain? Or is he Ish?
He's Ish. He's literally Ish. Because I think there's also, I think Ish represents like that gray area that the Baudelaires are now in, where they're not sure if they are good, but they don't think they're bad, but they've done bad things, and they know that they have. because like everybody exists in that gray area.
Yeah, and then we find out that Justice and Jerome have, like, they're trying to atone for their sins, but they keep saying they're volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they've done bad things.
Yeah. Because I think, like, they always try to, like, separate, like, because technically the volunteers have done bad things. Some of the volunteers are responsible for Olaf's parents for dying. There's, like, a ton of, like, fucking morally questionable things that are done from both sides.
I think that's why I'm confused about who the volunteers are supposed to be, like, in real life. Like, what's the analogy?
I think that, I don't think we could equate them to anything in real life, because I don't think they actually exist. So, like, what the volunteers think they are isn't an actual thing. Everyone, like, either is evil and is totally fine with being the evil that they are, which is the villains, or they exist in the ish area where they're just murky and gray, but
there's no pure
but they
good.
believe that there are good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's murky and
Everyone's a chef salad.
Exactly. Comes through. I think, yeah, everybody's ish, but villains are open about when they do bad things and are okay with doing those bad things and just being bad. And the volunteers are just like, no, like, we had to do it. We're still good. We had to do it. But it's like, but you still did a bad thing. You still did something a villain would do. Mm-hmm. Just because you're saying, like, it was okay doesn't mean that it was okay. Which is why the Baudelaire struggle with, like, the death of Dewey. Because, like, they didn't intend to kill him. They didn't even, like, they didn't even
actually shoot it.
Right.
Yeah. They were handed the harpoon gun and they just dropped it. Because they're like, what? But they still struggle with it because, like, it's something that they did regardless. And so, like, yeah, it just, like, plays into that murky grayness of people. Like, morality is, like, a murky gray area. Your morality can be different based on all things. How you're brought up, the shit that you've been through, what you have to do, like, to survive, basically. People are dark, man.
These books are.
Yeah, these books are pretty dark.
At the end,
when
Count Olaf, like, helps get Kit down.
Yeah.
Do you think we're supposed to feel, like, something toward him? Positive?
I think...
Maybe, like, he's human after all. Like, he has feelings. Besides greed. Like, because he obviously, like, loved her still.
Oh, yeah. I think, like, if it, like, for most part, it's supposed to show that there is a connection between Kit and Olaf that we don't know. And we don't learn about until later. And that, like, Olaf has a past. Something happened to him that made him what he is now and why he is the way he is. And you kind of learn a little bit of it when you learn that, like, you know, like, he brings up that their parents weren't all that good and noble. Mm-hmm. And then, and then you learn that, like, there's potential. It's never confirmed, but there's, like, most likely potential that their parents killed his parents with poison darts. And, like, it's like you start to learn about Olaf as a person, because he's a villain throughout the entire thing, and, like, that's just all he is. You don't know any of it. All you know is he wants money. But then you start to get into, like, you see moments where you see, like, his past, and you see that in the show. Like, it's, like,
they do that way more in the show.
Yeah. Which I think is good, because it then gives, like, because every villain has a backstory. Mm-hmm. Like, there's, like, something that made them the way they are. And I think the way that they did it for the book is they just kind of, like, show, like, with that small moment, like, tender moment between him and Kit, you see that there is, like, a past that we know nothing about. And, like, doesn't mean that we have to sympathize with him and we have to, like, you know, be okay with everything he did, because clearly we're not going to be okay with everything he did, because he did a lot of awful things. But it does mean that there is more to him than just wanting money. There's a reason why he went after the Baudelaire specifically, and it was because the Baudelaires fucked him over, killed his parents, whatever. And it just, like, yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know if it's meant to be specifically, like a sympathetic, like, moment where you have, like, you're forced to feel sympathy for Olaf, but I think it's supposed to be a tool to show that, like, there's still stuff that we don't know, and we probably will never know, which is why chapter 14 shows them kind of sailing towards the great unknown, because we don't know, because the great unknown could be anything. It's literally, like, it's being discussed by a lot of people who have read a series of unfortunate events, like, what they think the great unknown is, and how it could literally just be a giant metaphor for, like...
It is.
Yeah.
It's, like...
But it also could be something.
I think that's part of the hard part with these books, is that there's so... It's the same thing that happened with Lost, is, like, there's so much, like, concrete plot things happening, but then you find out at the end it's all just a metaphor, and there's actually no answers, and it's like...
God fucking damn it. I don't want that to be the ending, because that's lame.
Right.
Especially with Lost, because, like you said, Lost has such very concrete plot moments that all have explanations of some kind. Even if, like, some of them are a little, like, weird.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But they do start explaining things, but then at the end it's kind of all erased.
Yeah. Well, that's, like, the thing. That's why, like, a lot of people hate the, like, it's a dream theory, because, like, when you, like...
It's so annoying.
Yeah, because then it's, like, it makes all that weird shit that happened that was, like, cool and interesting, just, like, the whole explanation for it is because it was a dream.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing, it was not necessary and it wasn't needed, it was just a dream. It's, like, there's, like, a lot of, like, movies and, like, it's, like, Five Nights at Freddy's is a great example, because, like, the biggest, like, running theory is that it, like, all of it takes place as a kid's dream. And, like, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, like, explicitly, like, stated that, like, he's scared to give the confirmation of anything, because if they find out about it, they might not be happy with the answer, because nobody likes the it's a dream theory. Yeah. Because no one wants the
explanation. I don't think that's what it is actually happening, but because I think
but like with the new books that have, like, the new books and all the other new games that have been released, there's, like, more to it now, but, like, for a long time that was, like, a very big theory that was like
when you... If we're gonna get into Five Nights at Freddy's, we should probably stop. But
yeah, we should talk about Five Nights at Freddy's theory. Wow. Have you seen anything about Five Nights at Freddy's? Oh, I wish you could go down. Books. They have 2 books, but they're mainly games, and they have.
Yeah, I was like, there's 3.
Oh, there's 3,
and there's a handbook.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's where all the answers are.
All the answers. It's insane.
I'll just read that then. No.
We should watch some game theory later.
You have to watch the actual games, though.
You don't, though.
But it's more fun if, like, you get into, like, okay, this is the experience of the game, and now here's the story behind the scares.
Because it just looks like a really creepy game.
Yeah.
I mean, simple.
It's very simple, but it's, like, mainly jump scares.
I'm just saying it looks creepy. Yeah. Just because the characters are fucking weird.
Yeah.
The plushes are cute, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
like,
the plushes are adorable,
are cute.
There's some great cute art out there for them. Yeah, we'll watch Markiplier's series, because then we get to listen to Markiplier, who just has a lovely voice and
advertising here.
And then we'll watch all the game theories, because there's at least like 16 hours of game theories.
All right, so would you recommend this series overall?
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're deeming this series good, great. You should read it. Hooray.
Yes.
You should read it.
Yeah, you should read it, for sure.
Do it.
And when are we doing the next podcast, and what's the book?
Did we decide
the book is The Giver.
Yeah.
Losari.
Which, if you went to high school in America, you probably read, or middle school. I read it in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was like, I read it in 8th grade as well. It's one of my favorite books.
Sweet.
You're making yeah. I've actually never read, like, the whole, like,
I'm gonna read the synopses of them, kind of like what we did with Hush Hush and Fallen.
Yes.
So that
I want to read them all, but I'm not.
Yeah, we're only gonna read The Giver, but we can
I've only read
I'll go through and discuss.
I've also read Gathering Blue, but I haven't read Sun or Messenger. No.
I haven't read any of them, so.
Yeah, have you never read The Giver either?
Never had to, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
this will be time now. Look, we've read a book, and you haven't. That's great. That's never gonna happen again. I know. gonna be like, we all didn't read it, or everyone,
or only one of us read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I'm interested to see what Brittany's take is gonna be on.
I need to reread it because I haven't read it since in a long time. No, I've reread it before, but the thing is, like, now I'm gonna be reading it to analyze it instead of just reading it for fun. And I feel like
it's gonna change.
Yeah, and I'm a little sad about it.
Yeah,
but
it happens.
Maybe it'll.
This is every book with Brittany. Right? She doesn't not analyze it.
So
there's no other
way. That's why when Brittany says you should read this, it's a good book. It's a good book.
But I don't know what day we're doing.
Night Circus. Oh my god.
We should read Night Circus because like you have
it.
Yeah, I haven't, but I've heard it's.
And
great.
I would love to reread it again.
Yeah, I was like, I heard it's really good.
When Brittany and I had Brittany and I had a podcast, that was the first book we read, and it was so good. We should do it again so we could do it for What the Ya, because it is just solid fucking good book.
So what date?
I don't know.
That is an excellent question. Well, I'm going out of town for Thanksgiving, so we can't do it the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm thinking the 3rd or the 10th.
I think the 10th would be good. Or the 3rd, but that's like
2 weeks.
2 weeks away.
I can't do the 3rd.
Okay, 10th it is.
I don't know if that will work. I don't have my November schedule, but right now it'll have to work.
Yeah. Would we be able to do
tentatively the 10th?
The 10th.
We're going to be reading The Giver. So join us back here for that.
Hell yeah.
And I hope everyone who read the books enjoyed it and enjoyed our discussion.
Yes. Yes. And hopefully you'll read A Series of Unfortunate Events because it's really good. And then you should read, you should watch the Netflix adaptation because it's really good.
It is really
And
good.
also you should watch the movie because Jim Carrey as Count Olaf is rock solid gold.
And also, no.
And also just like, say you love your loved ones, I guess, because you never know when they're going to die in a fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, on that note.
Lots of messages today.
Bye.
Bye.
For the 9th time.
The 9th time. We did it.
Cue outro music.
Go. Kill it, baby.
Okay, bye.
Bye.